Hey everyone, how you doing? We're gonna play a little music while we're getting ready to get going here. Everyone's signing in, logging in. Hello. A few things to talk about today on my Sunday Live. Yeah, that's a good question. Why do I keep... So actually, I do need a haircut. I usually shave when it gets a little long, and it is a little long, so it would be time for me to get tonight I'll probably do that. Another good suggestion from a follower. But yeah, I'll probably do that tonight. That's a good question. What happens is, I'm not completely bald, obviously, so as it comes back, it fills in on the sides. Nothing much on the top. I am a busy man, so I got to tell you something. I'm a busy man, but I have not been busy. Well, so the last couple weeks, I've been dealing with a lot of health issues, stupid health issues. I had stupid Rocky Mountain spotted fever, which, by the way, tomorrow is the last day I have to take the antibiotic for that. So that's good. So that means that's gone. But tomorrow I'm also having an MRI for my leg and back pain that I've been having. I'm finally having the MRI tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, which I'm not looking forward to because I'm claustrophobic and blah, blah, blah. So, but I'm starting to, deal with these things. For me, it's a real problem because I've always been active. I'm an active person. I'm actively involved with my business. I'm active. And I have to say the last 2 weeks has really slowed me down for the first time in my life. Really slowed down. Where, in some days I'm in such pain. I can't move. I'm not motivated to move. I'm not motivated to do things. And I've had less patience than I normally have. And as it is, I don't have that many patience as it is. So anyway, so that's why I'm looking forward to the beginning of the end here to solve some of these issues. Even with the TikToks, if you notice, I go a couple of days without doing any because some of the days have been very difficult. But anyway, that being said, obviously I want to do my Sundays. I like to do my Wednesdays. I didn't do this Wednesday because I was in so much pain Wednesday. So what happens is that I try everything. Everyone's laughing at me. So I have this I don't know what you call it, this regiment of things I try to alleviate the pain so I can sleep. So for instance, I have a hot tub, right? So if I'm in real pain, I will go in the hot tub. Now the hot tub doesn't cure the pain. It just gives me instant relief. So if I go in there, because I guess you're in the water, so there's no pressure on my body, and it completely makes me feel good, instant relief. While I'm in it, once I get out, I'm back to having pain again. So that's one thing I do. The other thing I do is I have a heating pad. I'll try the heating pad for an hour, then I'll go on to ice. Then I tell you, the only thing that's really worked for me for temporary relief is this thing here that my wife bought this on eBay on Amazon for me a couple of years ago, and these things rotate and heat up, and I put it on my back, and I'm sitting in the chair now. Like this morning, I was able to pay my bills, and I just keep it behind me, and because I keep getting knots in my back, and that helps me. At least this way while I'm sitting here. It's soothing my back, and it kind of distracts me from the pain. Anyway, so that's the story with that. So, and then, of course, so I'll use that for an hour. And, of course, then the medication they've given me for pain and stuff like that. But see, I don't like taking medication. I don't like taking meds at all if I can avoid it. I rather do all these things. Oh, yeah, and I also bought an inversion table, so I've been trying the inversion table thing. It might be working, the inversion table. Kind of stretches me out a little bit. That might be working. Because last night I actually slept for 4 hours, and I can't believe it. So that's the story with that. So what else is there? Today is my anniversary. We went out to our anniversary dinner. I just got back, actually, a little while ago. That's why I scheduled the live for 5:30. Now, that was weird, too. I am not a professional TikTok person. Listen, every time they make a change to the site or the app, it throws me for a loop, okay? It throws me for a complete loop. The app usually has a little calendar thing where I can schedule my live, so that way it lets people know when I'm going to do live. Well, my calendar thing is missing from the app today, so I couldn't schedule my live. That's why I just did oh, great. I'm glad you finally got to a live, Brandon. So on my TikTok app, it wouldn't let me. There's usually a little icon for live. It's not there. It's missing. So that's why I did a little TikTok saying, "Hey, I will be live." So I don't know. I don't know if they changed it or why it's missing from mine. I don't know. Maybe I'm being punished for something. Maybe I did something wrong. I don't know. But hey, thank you for loving my content. I appreciate it. So it was interesting because I did a TikTok this morning, and sure, my wife and I went out to breakfast early this morning. So we were on our way home, and we had to go to a bakery. So going to the bakery, I drove down one of the streets where I happened to sell a house about a year ago. And I noticed that people that bought this house from me completely ripped out the front lawn, ripped out a brand new driveway I put in, ripped in the back, took out the lawn, and they put stone in the backyard. They put stone in the front yard, and they have cars parked everywhere. Well, it's a 4-bedroom house, but I counted at least 10 cars. So I don't know what's going on in that house. But all I know is for the landscaping and the driveways and stuff, the work I did was about $15,000 when I did it. And that's typically what I do when I do the houses. It's all about curb appeal, right? So I always like to make them look nice. But I can't believe I did all that work and then they ripped it right. They ripped it out to do their thing. Now it's their house; they can do what they want. But I'm thinking, boy, what a waste of money that was. So that's why it brings up the question. Okay, when I buy a house, a flip house, any house, when I buy a house, how do I decide what I'm going to do to it to sell it? Well, typically I start with, oh, thank you, Brandon, I appreciate that. When I buy a house, I look at the house, whether I go to the auction or if I buy it, on the MLS or whatever it may be, multiple listing. I look at this, okay, what am I going to do to resell the house? Well, I always start with kitchens and bathrooms because we know kitchens and bathrooms are important. Next would be curb appeal, the yard, the house doesn't need siding, painting, roof, driveway. And a driveway, a nice fresh driveway always is nice to a buyer. They pull up to a nice driveway to go look at the house. That's the first thing they're going to see, right? So I was really surprised at that. But, it does show me that when I do make the decision not to do certain things, it makes sense. I had sold a house about a year and a half ago. It was a huge house, about 4,800 square feet that I had bought at the auction. And that house there right now it's worth about $1 million. When I bought it, I paid $400 for it. I sold it for $600. I'm glad. What I did is I painted it. I cleaned it up. It had been vacant for 2 years. So we got it. So all the mechanicals were working. It was in rentable or saleable condition. And I'm glad I did that because that was the type of house that some rich doctor or lawyer or somebody's going to buy. And they're going to make it their own. So why am I going to put my taste and my paint and my colors or whatever into it when I know somebody's going to buy it is going to do something themselves? So I'm glad I did that with that house. But I was surprised at this one today when I saw that. I was very surprised. That's why I said I got to do a TikTok on this because that's a first for me where, I did all this work and all of a sudden somebody, completely changed it around. And it looks terrible, to be honest with you. I mean, because we had it looking nice with the landscaping and stuff. But again, I don't know, it works for them. Let's see. Yeah, so that's what's funny if their rentals, they're over the limit. So I got a funny story about that. Very, very interesting comment. So here's what's interesting. When you buy a multifamily, and people ask me about multifamilies, and this is something to think about. When you buy a multifamily house, now I know here in Rhode Island, I'm speaking for Rhode Island, I'm speaking for a couple of the cities and towns I own property in. If the house is zoned for 3 apartments, okay, 3 apartments, well, obviously you cannot just make a 4th apartment. It's illegal, right? It's against, you have to go get permission, go through zoning. It's a big pain in the neck. So say it's a 2-bedroom apartment, but they're huge bedrooms, gigantic bedrooms, right? 2 bedrooms. You can easily make them into 4 bedrooms, put up 2 walls, 2 closets. Now you have a 4-bedroom house. That's okay. You're allowed to have 3 4-bedroom apartments, but you cannot add another apartment. Now, the reason I bring this up is because parking. So what happens is that when you have a building and say it's 3 apartments and you have 6 parking spaces, right? Because by code you have to have 2 per unit in most cities and towns. Again, if they're 2-bedroom apartments, you're okay, but you can make them into 4-bedroom apartments. So it's kind of ridiculous the way the laws work and the zoning laws work because you can make a 10-bedroom apartment, okay, but you can't have 2 5-bedroom apartments, which actually
a 10-bedroom apartment uses less parking, obviously. Well, use more parking, but it's kind of weird how the zoning laws work because you cannot add a third. In other words, I can't have 4 2-bedroom apartments. It's 8 bedrooms, right? Not allowed to have 4 2-bedroom apartments. That's 8 bedrooms in the building. But you can have a 10-bedroom, a 4-bedroom, and a 6-bedroom, right? Because it's still only 3 units. So that's what's kind of weird about the laws. Anyway, hey, thank you very much. Let's see, who's that? Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Teresa Butler, happy anniversary. Okay. A little late, aren't you? Anyway, that's cool. You have a good landlord, Key Ghost. I mean, it's really good to have good landlords. It's important to have good landlords. I see every day I talk to people who have these bad landlords, and by the way, it's interesting because a bad landlord, we've talked about this before. What is a bad landlord? A bad landlord is somebody that doesn't fix things, right? But a bad landlord is also somebody who doesn't enforce his own rules. When is rent due? Charge late fees. That's a bad landlord too, because you know what? You're not consistent and you're not managing your properties the right way. Yes, you can fix things right away. That's a good landlord. But also you need to charge fees. You need to charge late fees. You have to enforce rules. Because what happens is I buy so many properties from a bad landlord who doesn't enforce the rules, and the places are a mess. The people don't take care of the place. The yards are a mess. So that's the issue with that. That's a bad landlord, right? So it's important. As a landlord, if you're buying property, somebody asked me today, I'm buying my first piece of property. What's the best advice you give me? I answered it on TikTok. The best advice when you're buying a piece of property is your first investment property. Okay, let's assume you're buying a 3-unit. That's the most that's out there, right? A 3-unit. You want to look at the expenses of the property. How much does it cost to own and run this property? Taxes, insurance, upkeep, maintenance. If it's an older property, that's going to need more maintenance, more upkeep, right? And utilities, heat, electricity, gas, whatever the utilities may be, propane. So you have to look at the expenses of that property. But then you have to look at the income of the property. So often, right now especially, real estate agents they'll market the property based on the potential. Here's what you could be making if you raise the rent. Here's what you could be making if you do this. That's a bunch of bullshit, okay? Don't go by that. If you're buying a piece of property, you go by what the property is doing now. Because, once you buy it, first of all, it's the challenge of raising the rent with the tenants that are there, right? You have 2 options. You can kick them all out and bring your own tenants in, but then you have to, if the apartments need updating, you have to remodel the apartments at, $15,000 each. There's an expense, right? So when you look at a piece of property, look at what it's bringing in now and what it's costing now, not what the potential is. And you know what? If a real estate agent wants to market that way, let somebody else buy it, okay? Because that means that for them to do that, they're hiding something. My biggest property right now is the 39-unit apartment house in Cranston. That's my biggest property that I have. Hey, Maine, how you doing? You trying to buy? So I will tell you, there's nothing out there right now. I don't know in Maine if there's something out there, but in our area, where I'm looking here, there's nothing. There's not. And when something does go on the market, they're asking so much money for it, which, again, supply and demand. So I'm not going to fault anybody. If I were to decide to sell something, I'd ask a lot for it too. But right now, I'm sitting back. I'm just utilizing this time to repair my properties, remodel my properties, remodel my units. That's all I'm doing right now while the market is so crazy, okay? I'm not going to foolishly buy something and pay too much for something. And at the same time, not only is the supply and demand crazy, there's not much out there. Now the interest rates are going up, right? So I'm sitting back. Don't be anxious. Do not be anxious. The reason why you don't want to be anxious is because if you spend too much money on a piece of property right now and the bubble bursts in a year and a half, 2 years, now you're going to be upside down and it's going to be even worse. Was trying to buy a 2-unit. Now I was going to live in it, rent out the other unit. Really not smart. Well, it is smart. I mean, hindsight for me, I wish I did that way back when. Bought a 2-unit, lived on one side and rented out the other side. I ended up buying my very first house as a single family. I ended up having 2 roommates for 3 years. So what's the difference? I was better off just buying a 2-unit. I had 2 roommates renting out bedrooms. So what do I think about auctions? So I love auctions. So most of my flip houses I have purchased at auctions. The auctions have been slim to none in the last year and a half because of COVID. Last week there were a few auctions. I didn't go because, again, I haven't been feeling well. So Andrew went to the auctions last week, but we didn't end up buying anything. This coming week, there's a couple on the calendar, not many. But I love auctions. Auctions are the way to go. Now, here's the interesting thing about auctions, okay? I consider the auctions the market. Whatever people pay for a house at the auction, that's what the market will pay, right? That's what the market will allow. That's the market price, because you have 10, 15, 20, 30 people at the auction bidding on these houses. They're bidding based on what they think the house is worth. So that's the real market. And that's why I like auctions, because that's the equalizer. The auctions show you what the property's really worth. So I like the auctions. Hey, Oklahoma, how you doing? Hey, Boston, how are you? Hey, from Boston. So I do not have any properties out of state now, but I have been looking. I've been talking about this. Again, you know what? I'm itching to buy something. I'm not going to buy something just for the sake of buying something. I would buy out of state. Now that I have a couple of properties that are not in my comfort zone and I have management companies managing them, I have no problem buying out of state. I just haven't found anything that would work for me as far as the numbers go. See, for me, it's all about the numbers. I always say that. The property has to cash flow. It has to make a profit for me to even look at it. Let's see. You rent in Rhode Island. You rent in Rhode Island. You have a leaky ceiling. Your upstairs neighbor got caught abusing a dog. She got arrested. Wow. Sounds familiar. But no, it's not. But that's terrible. That is terrible. She got arrested. That's awful. What was your leaky ceiling from? Did you figure it out? Just curious. They're getting kicked out? Yeah, Florida is very high. I was just in Florida a few weeks ago. I was looking at properties in Florida. It's high. Well, again, though, there's not much for sale. So I always look for multifamilies, right? So I was in Bonita Springs and in Naples, and there wasn't anything in that area for sale whatsoever. I did find some stuff a little north, but still, again, supply and demand. Supply and demand. There's not much out there for sale. So what is for sale, people are asking way too much money for. And what's happening is that people want to buy something or own something so bad, they're overpaying right now. And I just have to sit back and let it happen, let the market correct itself. Oh, she clogged her toilet and didn't report it. That was very nice of your neighbor. That's terrible. See, people are jerks. She clogged her toilet and didn't report it, Yeah, Maine too. Yeah, the rents are out of control. It's so what's happening is because there's a housing shortage, that's part of the reason it's driving rents up, the housing shortage. And in fact, there's not a lot of stuff on the market. It's really, really crazy. I don't understand it. Prices will go down at the end of the day. You might be right, Sandy Beach. I'm thinking that it might be a little longer than that. I'm hoping that, believe me, I wish it was tomorrow that they go down. I wish it was tomorrow that the auctions would start up again, full boat. What's happening is this. There's a lot of auctions scheduled, but by the time the auction day happens, they're getting canceled. For whatever reason, the banks are canceling them. Maybe the people are getting caught up. They're catching up. They're getting some sort of relief, whatever it may be, but they're getting canceled. There's a variety of reasons. But yeah, we used to do you like using management companies? So I do. And I don't. Management companies, you really, really have to search for a good management company. The problem with management companies is this, okay? A lot of management companies call themselves a management company, but all they are is a rent collector, and they take their piece and give you the rest. A management company really should be a company that keeps your apartments rented. And again, when you're interviewing or searching for a management company, those are the questions you want to ask. What is their retention rate? How quickly can they re-rent the apartments? Now, you can't, if you have a piece of shit apartment, well, then they can't do miracles either. For me, my apartments are nice. I renovate them. I make them nice. But I do. Management companies can be good as long as they are full service. But here's the thing: what you also want to do is you want to ask them what their pricing is for repairs. That's where they make their money. If you have a management company and you have a clogged toilet, and all of a sudden you get a $500 repair bill, are they taking half and paying the plumber half? So that's why you want to ask the management company what are their expenses, what expenses do they charge for, because you don't want to go broke with a management company. That's not fair either. But yeah, no, I have no problem with management companies. A good, there's just like anything else. There's honest, ethical management companies out there, and there's sleazebag management companies out there. And again, I would just get references from them, ask them, hey, give me some of the landlords that or property owners that you do business with, and get a reference. That's the best thing to do. And you call that person up and ask them, how much they charge for repairs, for clogged toilets, for an electrical problem, and ask the questions. And I think that's the best way to go. That's what I did. So we had to hire a management company to manage my summer rental property down in Narragansett, Rhode Island. I wanted to get a good management company down there that could manage it, that could turn it over on the Saturdays for the next week for the rentals. And that's what we did. We asked those questions, and we picked out the management company based on that. So, had you asked me, David, if you asked me a year ago, I would have told you it would have been dropped by now. I'm surprised how long it's lasting, but here's the problem. As long as the government keeps throwing money to help these people out, the renters, because see, what's happening is the renters are getting their rent paid, right? So they don't have to go back to work. So it's keeping the economy down because there's no money going back into the economy. So that's a problem. The problem is the housing shortage is a problem. But once the banks start foreclosing again, listen, it's just like 2008 all over again, okay? Right now, we have no idea. You have no idea. I have no idea how many people are not paying their mortgage right now. We have no idea. That's, it's secret information until the bank finally forecloses and starts listing the houses up for auction. I have a feeling there's probably more houses that are in foreclosure right now than ever, and we just don't know it, right? Because think about it. If there's this many renters, because I deal with renters and I deal with rent relief. Think of it, that's been out there. Rent relief's out there. The government's giving the rent relief. We know that. We don't know how many people are behind on their mortgages. We have no idea. We're not going to know that until the banks start forcing the issues, and then we'll really see that that's going to be really the big issue. But when that happens, there'll be a ton of houses on the market. I think that will correct the problem. And yet, by the end of the year, maybe. I did notice the auctions are coming back. So if the auctions are coming back, that means the banks are starting to force the issue with people paying their mortgage. The problem was, there was no really mortgage assistance this time. There's rental assistance, but the only mortgage assistance you get is if the bank gives you if they give you a forbearance agreement, if the bank works with you, your own mortgage company, if they work with you, that's the only relief you're getting. There's rent relief out there, but there's no mortgage relief. So I have a feeling you're going to see, I see it now. I see last week there was a few auctions. This week there's a few more auctions. So they are getting scheduled. They're still getting canceled, but there's more getting scheduled. So it looks like the banks are starting to force the issue. Whether that's good or bad, I'm not judging that, whether it's good or bad. I'm just saying that it looks to me as though they're starting to force the issue where they're starting to schedule the auctions. But it has to happen sooner. I mean, the banks can't keep going like this either, right? So we'll have to see what happens. It's hard to find a 3-bedroom. So where are you located, Michelle, where you can't find a 3-bedroom under $2,000? Obviously here in Rhode Island, there's a lot of 3-bedrooms under $2,000. I mean, my average 3-bedroom apartment is probably, my average 3-bedroom is probably about $1,200, $1,250, depending on the location. But I'm just curious where you are. I mean, in Boston, maybe. I think the government, they're manipulating the market. They're not doing it on purpose. Listen, obviously COVID was a big surprise to everybody. Nobody knew how to handle it. They're doing the best they can. But I think they've gone above and beyond. Look, they helped with rent relief. They helped with the unemployment. They extended the benefits. They gave out the bonuses. But enough is enough. Let's get people back to work. Let's cut cut the umbilical cord and get people back to work, get money back into the economy, get the economy growing again. That will put money in the economy. People will be thriving. So the government's manipulating it, but not on purpose. It's just the way. It's just the residual effect of all this money out there, which is too bad. Yes. So Section 8. My thought on Section 8 is this. I've talked about this because I have many Section 8 tenants. Out of 380 tenants, I probably have 50 throughout the 10 cities and towns I own property in. So Section 8 is a valuable tool for the people who need it. It's also a dangerous tool for the people who don't need it. Okay, and that's the problem. That it's valuable for the people who really need Section 8. Somebody who's disabled, somebody who can't work, somebody who just, a single mom, somebody who just can't afford it. Section 8 is a valuable tool, but it's a dangerous tool because you have people that take advantage of it. You have people that, I've talked about this before, where Section 8, by the way, so Section 8, it has such a misconception, Section 8. People think, it's all people that are, criminals and bums. And it's not that at all, okay? These are people that are down and out, people that need the support for whatever reason. Like I said, could be disabled people, elder people. The problem that I have is this, and here's where it's a dangerous tool, and here's where people ruin it. Bad people ruin it for good people. So one of the rules that I enforce is if I have a Section 8 tenant in one of my apartments, they signed a contract with Section 8 and with me. When all of a sudden they have somebody else move in with them or they rent a room out to somebody else, they've now violated the rules of Section 8. And I enforce that rule. Unfortunately, some of the cities and towns don't, but I force the issue. It's federal money, and when I find out that a tenant's doing that, we enforce it. We tell them, we start evictions, tell them to get out. We'll call the Section 8 office. Now, at the beginning, when I first started having Section 8 tenants, I found a couple of local Section 8 agencies, because they're run in the city. Each Section 8 is run in the city, but it's federal money. So they wouldn't enforce the rule. They would kind of turn a blind eye to it. But I force the issue because that's bullshit. That's my tax dollars. That's your tax dollars. Yeah. It's going to me as far as a property owner, landlord. But still, it's coming out of my tax money. So that's a bunch of bullshit. So that's the thing. So I'm in support of Section 8 for the people who need it. For the people who abuse it, I'm the first one to report them. And it's a shame that people who don't need it go after it and take that money because they're taking money that could go to people that really need it. So that's my position on Section 8. The thing is that Section 8 tenants have to go through my same selection process, the background check, and they must pass that background check or they will not become my tenant. And so that's why I think where people don't realize that landlords can pick and choose, without discriminating who they rent their apartments to, without discriminating. And that's important to know. So I've bought some property where landlords didn't care who they rented to. I've talked about this before, where I've had to clean house because every tenant in the building, and I'm not talking Section 8, I'm talking in general, landlords just don't care who they rent to. Well, I do, because I'm in it for the long term. And if I have a 6-unit apartment house and I have 6 families or 6 couples, whatever it may be, 6 individual households there, I have to respect the other 5 when I rent out unit number 6. So it's very important to me who I rent to because, again, longevity. I don't want people moving in and out of my apartments. I don't want a revolving door. I want long-term tenants. So that's why it's very, very important that we pick and choose. And we do. Jasmine has been excellent. She's the one in my office who's been taking in all the applications. And I go in there and I see, we have 4 or 5 apartments, for rent, because every week we're remodeling, we're painting, so different ones become available, right? So she has a file on her desk this thick, 2 inches thick, of people who have applied who have not passed the background check. We're not going to rent to people who've been evicted recently. The people that have been evicted recently, really, few and far between are legitimate people that got evicted. The reason I say that is this: between the rent relief, between landlords working with you, there's no reason to be evicted due to non-payment of rent. That means you just didn't want to pay your rent. You took the money, you didn't want to pay your rent. So anybody who's been evicted recently in the last year and a half, 2 years, we won't even look at them, unfortunately for them. But it is what it is. But But I will take evictions. We have to see. We have to find out what the story is. We have to do some research, do our due diligence, and find out what the story is with that. But yeah, and then we may rent to somebody who was evicted. You know, it could have been a divorce situation or a breakup. There's legitimate reasons. Legitimately lost the job, whatever. And that's why we have to do the background check so we know. So most people have a background now and have amazing jobs and can afford to be long-term tenants. So, you know, the thing is that you're right. So there were a lot of people that worked right through COVID, right? Depending on the job you had. Healthcare, they worked straight through, right? We have waiters, waitresses, hairdressers, you know, nail salon people that are tenants of ours that had a problem during COVID. They're still with us. We worked with them. They worked with us. For instance, I'll give you an example. When you apply for rent relief, one of the things that rent relief says is that the tenants should make good faith payments. Now, the reason why it says that is they know, rent relief knows, the government knows that everyone was collecting unemployment. So yeah, maybe you weren't making what you were making before, but you were making something. So if your rent is $1,000 a month, there's no reason why you can't pay us $50, $75 a week. That's a good faith payment. So $300 a month while you're waiting for rent relief. So my position that I have taken with every tenant that has applied for rent relief is I expect you to make good faith payments. Doesn't have to be what you were paying before, obviously. Good faith payments. Now what happens is when you make those payments, we apply it to your account. So we understand that you're not paying your rent right now because you've applied for rent relief, but we apply it to your account. We've told every tenant this, and if any tenants follow me on TikTok, and I've said it on TikTok before, and it's a policy in my office, if you applied for rent relief and you refuse to make a good faith payment, when the rent relief runs out, we will ask you to vacate that apartment. Because that means you did not care whether I paid my bills. You worried about yourself because there was no reason to pay zero. You had some income. You could have paid me a small portion towards the rent to help me pay my mortgages, help me pay my bills. If you chose to pay zero, that was your choice, not mine. You chose to pay zero. Then when the rent relief comes and pays for you, when your rent relief runs out with me, I'm all done with you. I'd rather rent to somebody else. So I've been very clear on that. My office staff knows about it. And I've made it clear with the tenants, if they refuse to make a good faith payment, because some of them have, I'm not paying you, I'm getting rent relief, Doesn't matter. Rent relief suggested you make good faith payments and you have income. In other words, if their income's in half, right? Say their income's in half, well, pay half your rent, pay 25% of your rent. It doesn't mean pay zero. So we've made it very clear. I'm fair, and I think that's a fair statement because what's happening is I still have bills to pay. If I have 60, 70 tenants not paying their rent, how am I supposed to pay my bills? That means I have to borrow the money, pay interest. So that's why the good faith payments are very important. So we've made it clear, you know, so that's what the story is there, you know. There are subsidies that you use. So actually, the only thing I've ever used, that's a good question. There have been grants in the past for like commercial properties to fix up the facade, the front of the building. So I have it hasn't been anything in like 7-8 years, but I have had grants in the past to do that. But no, the only other subsidy is if a tenant gets a subsidy. Some tenants, get help from their church. They'll get help from a nonprofit organization. Of course, they get rent relief. So in Section 8, but yes, there are some redevelopment grants out there. I just don't happen to be in any of those areas where I can apply for those subsidies. But I would listen whenever there's an opportunity for a grant to fix up a piece of property. I think property owners should take advantage of it. Why not? Why not? Fix up their property, maintain their property. I think it's a great idea. So yeah, I would take advantage of it if the opportunity was out there for me. I absolutely would. Let's see what else is there. What software do you keep track on your rent property? All right. So we use two software. So I use QuickBooks, obviously, to do our bookkeeping, but we use an app called Tenant Cloud. And that's what we use. And it's basically, that's what it is. It's a cloud-based app where the tenants get a login and passwords. They can log in and they can see how much they owe, and they can put in maintenance requests. So it's called Tenant Cloud. For us on our end, on the back end, the office end, it gives us all the information on the apartment, on the tenant, their leases in there. So that way, like from here, I can log in and I could contact the tenant or Andrew or anybody remotely on their phone because it's an app. So that's what we use. Hey, Make Money, how you doing? You just woke up from your 52-year-old nap. So, what's funny about that? So I went out. So today was our anniversary. We went out to dinner this afternoon. So I took a nap before I went out to dinner. I took my 57-year-old nap this afternoon. Hey, that's what we got to do, make money, Unfortunately, especially with me now with this leg pain, I try to sleep as much as I can. So that's the only. I get relief when I go in the hot tub, and I get relief when I sleep, Hey, thanks, Make Money. How you doing? Thanks a lot. Appreciate that. So, 18 years that we've been married, 18 years. We've been together a lot longer than that, though. We started dating in 1995. So let's see, we got married in 2004. So we dated for 9 years, and I would have dated longer. I was perfectly fine with dating, going out, but, it doesn't work that way. But anyway, yeah, so we've been together since 1995. But anyway, so that's the story with the whole what was I talking about? The rent relief thing and giving the good faith payments, and some of the tenants are very, very insulted that we ask for good faith payments, but rent relief suggests that make good faith payments. And we're not asking for a lot of money. We're asking for a small portion. It's more to show that you're making an effort, that you understand that I have bills to pay, I have staff to pay, I have to live my life too. And when somebody says, no, I'm not giving you a good faith payment, that's basically saying, I'm waiting for the government money and F you. So you know what? That's fine. When you get the government money, we'll take the payments, and then when it's over, you can leave. That's why the whole COVID situation, the rent relief situation, was really the great equalizer. It really showed you the good people, the bad people. I want good tenants. We make it very clear that in my office, I will not put up with tenants that abuse my staff, that tell us what's going on, what to do, It's important. It's important because it should be. Look, we're providing a service and they're paying us money, right? So it's a give and take. It's like going to a restaurant. You have a waitress, right? The waitress is, serving you, and you're giving them a tip, and it's the same thing. It's a mutual respect. Yes. If a tenant has been in the apartment for a long time, can they request a renovation? So typically, what we'll do is this: if a tenant's been in the apartment for a long time, and I've done this in the past. In the same building, if I renovate an apartment in the building, I'll offer them, do you want to move into this new, fresh apartment? That way I can go and fix yours up. Typically, it's hard to renovate an apartment when somebody's living there, but what we will do is, because again, how do you fix a bathroom up? Then you need a bathroom, right? So what I'll do is I'll typically, if they've been a long-term tenant, I'll offer them an apartment in that building or in another building. Say, look, we just got this brand new apartment. Do you want to move? And they take advantage of that. But yeah, I mean, somebody's asked for new flooring. We'll do new flooring. And we'll do, we'll repairs, that type of thing. But again, we can't do any long-term thing because how can they be without a bathroom or without heat or without a kitchen? But yes, they can absolutely request a renovation or a repair or remodel or something, and we'll try to work it out with them to make it work, for everybody. I have a tenant who's lived in one of my buildings since he was 18 years old. He's 59 now, I think. I bought the building in 2004. And when I bought the building, I completely renovated every single apartment. So what I did was same thing there. I renovated an apartment, and I asked him to move into that brand new apartment, and I renovated his old apartment, and he still lives in the new apartment. So yeah, that's how we kind of, worked that out. So that's the story. That I had some questions this morning that came up. Oh, so I got one for you. I think we talked about this last week. I did a TikTok on this last week. So an employee left and did not give any notice. So I did a TikTok on the fact that he didn't give any notice. And I said, well, it is what it is, right? If he doesn't want to give a notice, he doesn't have to give a notice, right? We all know that, right? if one argument is, well, if you're the owner of the property, you're the owner of the property, you're the owner of the business, and you're going to fire somebody, you're not going to give them any notice, right? Yeah, obviously they did something wrong. They're getting fired on the spot. It is proper to give a 2 weeks notice. Do you have to? I guess not. In this day and age, it seems to be, based on my comments that I see on my TikTok. No, you don't have to. Screw the boss. Of course, nobody cares about getting references now because the job market. See, again, right now, it's an employee market, right? So the employees can just come and go as they please because they know they can get a job somewhere else. So they can be independent. They don't need the reference. So that's a little interesting. The thing is that what's interesting about it is this particular employee, I talked about it, he was very good when he worked. Took too much time off, but he was very good when he worked. Because he took too much time off, obviously, he was not Employee of the Month. And, look, the bottom line is this. I have employees that show up every single day. They work every day. They're going to be sick once in a while. We do give paid sick time, paid vacation time, all of that. That's not the issue. The issue is that, and of course, somebody might say, well, what do you care if he takes the time off and he doesn't get paid? Because I have a business to run. And if I have everybody sitting at home, not working, not getting paid, I'm not running my business, not getting my apartments renovated. I'm not getting things done. So that's the problem with that. So I see some comments, which is interesting about the rent. I'm going to comment on that because I do have some tenants that pay in advance. So the issue is that, look, he worked his bare minimum. He actually made a comment. So I offer overtime. He never wanted to work overtime. Not mandatory. Never wanted to work overtime. Even when I asked, nope, don't want to. I made enough. That's it. So I don't know. To me, that's a little strange. Once in a while, people like to make a little extra money, right? You're raising a family. You want to make a little extra money. So that was a little bit of a weird thing. But taking the too much time off did give me a bad taste in my mouth. So I don't have to like everybody. Did I like him as much as I like other employees who don't take time off? No, of course I didn't. It is what it is. That's human nature, right? That's human nature. But I would have if he just worked his 40 hours every week and did his job and called in sick once in a while like a normal worker. It is what it is. But I know I got a lot of pushback on the fact that I said, he gave no notice. And people are like, oh, he doesn't have to give notice. Fine, he doesn't have to give no notice. He doesn't have to get a reference from me either. And at some point, again, when the people stop getting this free money, the unemployment and the rent relief, and they have to go back to work, then what's going to end up happening is it's going to become an employer's market again, hopefully soon. Because right now, you see everyone is looking for help. It's a real shame. It's hurting the economy, too, because the employers can't hire anybody. So it's really hurting the economy because people are getting bad service out there. The employer doesn't want to give bad service. Trust me, the employer wants to give good service. Okay, the business wants to give good service, good customer service, but they can't if they don't have the help to do it. And by the way, I think it's the same people that are sitting home not doing anything that are complaining about the bad service. So I do offer. So I have summer temporary jobs in my. I do. So in Elmwood Realty, we're always looking for summer temporary people because we need landscapers desperately in the summers, especially with the amount of properties we own now, and of course with my ice cream shops, that's always a summer temporary job, scooping ice cream. But so yeah, the jobs that we have in the summer are typically landscaping, maintenance. We have a lot of maintenance work that we do in the summer, obviously.
I pulled inside the slam, I chopped it up, I feel a car.
On my other iPad is how I follow the questions, because on my iPad it's nice and big so I can see the questions, Oops. Live. There we go. So now I'm back to my questions. Let's see. Sometimes it's the pay. Oh, 3.5 lobster. Wow, that's a big lobster. Actually, I had a stuffed lobster today. We went to Spain in Cranston. We went to Spain and Cranston for lunch, and it was 1.5 pound lobster. I wasn't that hungry. I actually haven't not had much of an appetite with this stupid leg pain. Sometimes in the pay, so that's a very good point. So here's what happens, right? You have the employees that say, or the people say, you pay me more and I'll work harder. That's one school of thought, right? Pay me more and I'll work harder. Okay. Or the employer can say, hey, show me what you can do and I will pay you more. And if I don't pay you more, then obviously I'm a jerk and you can leave and go somewhere else, right? But show me what you prove yourself to me and I will pay you more. I mean, to me, look, obviously I'm the employer, so I have my opinion on that. But I think that is blackmail. Pay me more and I'll work harder. To me, that's blackmail. Me, it's, hey, demonstrate what you can do, and it's in my best interest to pay you more because I don't have to pay two people to do the same job. So it's in my best interest to pay you more. So that's why I disagree with the people, pay me more and I'll work harder. It doesn't work that way. It does not work that way at all. The way it works is you show me what you can do, demonstrate what you can do, and I will pay you. And then if I don't, then shame on me, and then, I'm a jerk. So that's why I wouldn't do that, I do have apartments available. So in our office, there's a list on a whiteboard that we keep above Jasmine's desk because it constantly changes with the amount of apartments we have now, right? People moving in, people moving out. We're renovating apartments, so then they go back on the market once they're renovated. So we do. I would say just you have to call the office, 401-738-5000. That's the office number. You can call the office, and you can and call Jasmine. Tomorrow, Jasmine's out, so I think tomorrow Nadine will be in. And you can ask what apartments are available: 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, studios, 3 bedroom houses, and they'll go over the list with you. Yeah, the Johnston compound. What a joke that is. I was at the auction the other day. I went to the auction, I think Thursday, and I was talking to all the other guys at the auction because they were there. In November of 2019, they were all there when I bought that compound in Johnston. And we were talking about how here it is 2.5 years later. And I have not, 2.5 years later, I have not closed on this property. It's unbelievable. It's like a record. Now, obviously, COVID had a lot to do with it. But come on, COVID's over now. Why isn't it happening? It's like really ridiculous now when you think about it, right? It's crazy that has not closed. So the people that don't know about that is I bought these 4 houses on one lot in Johnston, Rhode Island. I paid $260,000 for 4 houses on one lot at the auction in November of 2019. And what happened was there was some title issues, so the bank hasn't cleared the title yet. Had to go to court a few times. The bank did. I don't go to court, because they have to clear the title before they can sell me the property. So I did put down a $5,000 deposit on it back in November 2019, and which my deposit is still on there. And I'm just waiting for it to clear so I can close on it and own it. So nothing's new on that, which is really, really crazy when you think about it, It's funny because I'm actually, my lawyer checks on it once in a while for me. He calendars it. He has it on his calendar, and he'll calendar it for me. And so he'll check on it. So I'll just have to remind him. I'll have to just remind him to check on it, Do I buy hardwood flooring? Yes. So if I have apartments that I buy and there's hardwood floors in the apartment, so I have one for you. Funny you should ask that question. So 3 weeks ago, I bought a duplex up and down. So it's a really nice house. So when I bought it, there was a lady that lived there for 8 years, and I bought the property about a year and a half ago, and she stayed there. She just moved out. So I go in her apartment. It's all wall-to-wall carpeting in the apartment. So I go in the closet. I peel up some carpet. Beautiful hardwood floors throughout the whole apartment. So I pull up the carpet. I get the hardwood floors done because the way I look at this, if you have a tenant and they want to have carpets, they can throw rugs here, area rugs here and there. I'd rather have the hardwoods, beautiful hardwood floors. And those carpets were 8 years old, so they needed to come out anyway. So, yeah, I'll do hardwood flooring. I do buy hardwood flooring for the apartments. If they already have hardwood floorings, they need to be repaired. I always like to bring things back to the original. If there isn't hardwood flooring there, say there's carpet you build up, there's plywood, then I'll do the vinyl flooring, which I really like. What was it? Oh, let's see. I got to see that. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything here. At my job, they pay people what they are worth, but it's tough to get in. So that's the thing too. So you know what? So when you pay people what they're worth, so I hope that I pay people what they're worth, right? Now, from an employer's point of view, they're all going to say that, right? The only judge I have is the longevity of my employees, right? So I have Donnie, who's been with me since 1995. Dwayne's been with me since 2003, right? So 19 years, right? Rick's been with me 13 years. I have all long-term employees. That Mike's been with me 15 years. These are all employees that have been with me a long time. I believe if I wasn't paying them what they were worth, they wouldn't be with me that long. That being said, is there a revolving door? Yeah, there are people that I hire that have been with me 6 months, 8 months. They think they deserve more. In their mind, they believe they deserve more. And maybe I don't, and I don't give it to them, and they leave. For me, it's the loyalty. It's the effort. You know, it's all about effort. If I see somebody come in, make an effort, do your job, that goes a long way with me. And no drama. I don't want drama. I have 90 employees in the summer when the ice cream shop's open. I can't afford drama. I can't afford to deal with actually, I have more than 90 employees because I forget about Butler Waste sometimes with all the drivers and stuff. And I can't stand the drama. I can't afford the drama. I can't tolerate the drama. I have too much going on in my life. So to me, that's when somebody's worth the money, right? Because they're not bothering me. By the way, the reason I keep moving is because I got that massage thing going on behind me so I can sit long and deal with this. Tomorrow night's my MRI. Did I tell everybody I hate MRIs because I'm claustrophobic? I have an MRI story to tell. True story, true MRI story. But anyway, so, hey, Big Spin, how you doing? Hey, Del on Tribble. So the easement for using the neighbor's property. So I don't. Yeah. So that went through. That's no problem at all because it's a budding property. So yes, that went well. So let me tell you my MRI story real quick. I might as well deviate a little bit so that way people that are into MRIs, you know, I can equal opportunity, right? So I only had one MRI once in my life. It was about 3 years ago. My left leg was bothering me. We thought it was a sciatic nerve, whatever, but the doctor said, why don't you get an MRI just to make sure? So I scheduled the MRI. Now, I'm claustrophobic, so I did ask for an open MRI. So it looks like almost like a hamburger, you know, you're the meat. That's the open MRI. The other one's a tube that you go in, right? So I asked for the open MRI. So I'm thinking, oh, okay, fine. So I drive there, right? And the technician opens the door for me to go into the room. Up, I put my hands up. Nope, can't do it. Now I'm thinking to myself right now, that's ridiculous. Why I couldn't get into the thing, but I couldn't do it. I could not get into that machine. I'm claustrophobic. I just could not get into. I could not lay down the thing. He's like, look, why don't we try? He was really not. I got to tell you something. They are so caring. You know, I felt so guilty. Anyway, so he goes, let's try it. So he lays me on the table. He starts putting me out. Nope, can't do it. See, the problem is this. I was fidgety, and you can't be fidgety in MRI. So I was fidgety because I was a nervous wreck, right? Because I'm claustrophobic. So I had to reschedule. So I rescheduled a second time. So I went back a second time. But actually my wife went with me. But again, because I was so nervous, I was fidgety, and you can't be fidgety. So believe it or not, 3 times, 3 strikes are out, right? So I scheduled it. But the third time I got medication from my Xanax. My doctor prescribed Xanax. So now my doctor gives me a Xanax. He says, take it about 15 minutes before the MRI. So I took one and it wasn't doing anything. And I had to go into the MRI, right? So, okay, I took another one. So I took two, right? So I had the whole MRI. I'm nervous. I was able to sit still. My wife was with me, and she stood in the room in the corner. I was able to get through this stupid MRI, right? So now we leave the MRI, and everyone was my wife and my kids were so proud of me that I got through it, right? They're like, okay, let's go out to dinner. So we went out to dinner, and finally the 2 Xanax kicked in, and I fell asleep at dinner. So that's my MRI story. So tomorrow night I got my second MRI that I'm having in my life. I think I'll take a Xanax probably about a half hour before I go into it. Now that I know what to expect, I feel confident that I shouldn't have any problem. Because now I know what to expect. I never was in one before. I had no idea. Now I know what to expect. You sit there, you hear some banging for 35 minutes, and that's it. So I think I'll be a lot better tomorrow night. And hopefully they don't find anything major. I'm thinking I got a pinched nerve or a disc, some disc out of place or something. Who the hell knows? We'll find out.
Yeah, that's a TikTok video of me falling asleep on the family. But that's really what happened. It makes money. That's the story.
All right, here's a question. How old does a rug have to be before it's replaced? So, when I first started doing apartments, right, 25, 30 years ago, that was the big thing. Okay, you take the carpet out, put a new carpet in, get the carpets clean. So for me, if a carpet shows wear and tear on it, I take it right out. You don't want to have it. Yeah, how are you going to rent an apartment with wear and tear? Or if there's stains on it that you can't get out, you take it out. But typically, and by the way, all the flip houses, I take the carpets out. We start fresh. But what I do in my apartments now is, for the most part, I put vinyl flooring in, besides the hardwood floors or tile in the kitchens, because I figure the tenants can bring their own carpets in. It keeps the apartments cleaner, neater, longer, and that's what it is. It's all about the long term. So, it's all about the long term. So for me, I typically take the carpets out now, so that's the issue with that. I actually I got 2 iPads going over here now. I got one I'm getting texts on, and one I'm getting emails on, because people asking me questions, which is cool. But yeah, so I don't particularly like carpets in apartments because you get germs and this and that. You can have them steam cleaned and everything, but they still don't come out perfect. I run hardwood flooring companies in Rhode Island at wholesale prices. Well, that's perfect then. That's perfect to know. If you want to email me in my profile, I have my private email address. There's a link there. Scott, if you want to email me your contact information, that'd be perfect. I'll contact you, or I'll have Andrew, contact you. And because, we buy obviously we buy hardwood floors. So that'd be good. That'd be real good. Chicken bucket. Now, chicken bucket, what does that mean? I know what's wrong, ain't got no gas in it. All right, chicken bucket. Or make money. What is that all about, make money? What is that? What are you guys talking about? So getting back to paying the employees, right, what they're worth, right? So I have job openings now. I'm always looking for remodelers. I could have 10 remodels right now and still have not enough, right? So very often, if you're a handyman or a remodeler, you're going to know how to do some framing, sheetrocking, painting, basic plumbing, right? Kitchen sinks, toilets, bathtubs, right? Basic plumbing, right? And basic electrical, switches, outlets, light fixtures, right? Because that's a true remodeler. If you say you would remodel homes or remodel apartments or remodel kitchens, that's what a remodeler is, right? They do a little of everything. So what happens is, if I hire somebody to be a remodeler, I'm going to pay one price if they're just a framer. I'm going to pay them a little more if they do framing, sheetrock, plastering, right? Insulating. Paying a little more if they know basic plumbing, and a little more if they do electrical. So that's what I mean about paying somebody what they're worth. If somebody comes in and they can do everything soup to nuts, I am a stupid fool for not paying them excellent money to keep them working for me, because now I don't have to call my electrician in, I don't have to call the plumber in. This person is doing everything for me, and I will pay them what they're worth and probably what they ask for. Because what's going to happen is if they ask for whatever it is, say they say, I want $40 an hour, but I will do plumbing, sheetrock, I will do, electric. If they ask for that and they produce, then you know what? They're getting what they want, and I'm getting what I want. It's a great marriage. It's a great partnership, and it could be less or more than that. But again, it's all because now the question is, okay, speed. How quickly can they do that? Yeah, maybe they can do it, but if it takes 4 weeks to do something that should take 2 weeks, that's a whole nother story. That's why there's such a fluctuation in the amounts. But again, show me what you can do, and it's up to me to pay you. And if I don't, then shame on me, and tell me that. But typically what happens is I'm transparent, as you can tell. I say it how it is. Show me what you can do, and I will pay you. Let's see. What else do we have here now? Oh, yeah, vinyl. Yeah, so we use a lot of, we go through pallets of vinyl flooring. We go through pallets of vinyl flooring. Let's see what else we got. Oh, here we go. Yeah, it's called a handyman, but the point is on that makes money is some people say they're a handyman, but they're really not. I hired a carpenter. Well, I hired a remodeler about a year ago. So I said, in the interview, we asked the same questions, by the way. My ad is the same. In fact, my ads are on Craigslist. They're the same. I put the same ad all the time. And, I'll always ask, what are your skills? Send me your skills. And they'll say, you can do basic plumbing, basic electrical. Because again, some of them, a lot of the people that I hire are people that had their own business, okay, but they're not getting customers, so they'll come work for me because obviously I guarantee them full-time work. Well, now I realize why they didn't get any customers, because they couldn't do plumbing or they couldn't do electrical. And it's okay if they're honest with me up front. I'm not going to not hire them because I need people, right? So I have some great, excellent carpenters that work for me right now that don't touch plumbing or electrical, but they're excellent carpenters, and I'm okay with that because I have electricians and plumbers. But because I want to do more and more, I'm expanding the business, it's nice to hire somebody who does have all the other skills. And if they say how many employees do I have? So I have, between all my businesses right now, I have a little 90 employees between all my businesses. The reason why I say between all my businesses is because, the ice cream shops in the summer, we hire 40 employees. The rest of them for my other businesses. But Butler Waste is growing. We hired another driver the other day, and that business is continuing to grow. Andrew and Bryan are going to be thrilled when they're in different buildings. They get along great, though. They do get along great. For brothers, it's just interesting because they do work for two different businesses. But no, they it's interesting. I kind of feel bad that I have to separate the businesses just because we're expanding. I like having everybody under one roof. It's easier for me, obviously, because I can walk from Butler Waste to Elmwood Realty to Audiovisual Services to Frozen Desserts, right, in the one building. So it's nice and easy for me because Tim's the district manager for Frozen Desserts. I can talk to him. Andrew's Elmwood Realty. I can talk to him. Bryan, was Butler Waste. Now he's Audiovisual Services. So it's kind of nice. So I'm a little spoiled that way. Though I have not been in the building that much, when I've been out in the last month, I've probably been in the building maybe a total of 15, 16 hours because of I was in Florida for the week, and also because of my Rocky Mountain spotted fever. I was out for that week, and of course my back problems. So I've not been in the office that much. So it doesn't really matter if if they're in different buildings because everything's done over the phone now. But no, Bryan and Andrew don't mind. They get along really well, though they do disagree on some things, some levels, but no, they get along really well. That's a good question. Is Tim going down to the building with AV Services? No. Tim will stay. Tim will stay at at my main office. Tim will stay at my office. AV Services will just be the audiovisual staff. We'll go to that building. We'll go back to the old offices. So I do have a lot of headaches, Italian boy. I do have a lot of headaches. And that's what I was talking about earlier today. So on my TikTok. So what's happening is this, okay, in hiring people, and I understand, look, it comes with the territory, right? You want to own a business, you want to have headaches, right? But one of the things is when I was talking about paying people what they're worth. Part of the problem I have is that I have, in fact, I just had a conversation with somebody about this we had a meeting the other day. I hire 14 and 15-year-old kids to work, 14 and a half and 15-year-old kids to work at my ice cream shops. And I have the most patience and tolerance for them. I love working with them. I love teaching them. It's their first job. It's wonderful. I love the teenage drama, okay? I love the teenage drama. Look, they're on TikTok. They can relate to me, right? And I'm 57, right? I can't stand the 40-year-old drama and the 45-year-old and 50-year-old drama. I have no patience, no tolerance for that. So that's where I have zero tolerance. If I see any of the older carpenters, electrician plumbers with any drama, they can go out the door. I don't want, look, grow up, okay? I have tolerance for the young kids who've never had a job. I will teach them. I will work with them. I love working with them. I love teaching them. It's their first job. It's exciting to me, okay? It's not exciting dealing with 45 and 50-year-old drama, okay? Who's talking about this one behind their back? I'll deal with that with 14 and a half year olds, not with 45 and 50-year-olds, okay? Who's talking about this one's back in the office, who called this one a name and this and that. When I was in Florida, okay, 3 weeks, I got a phone call. Andrew handled it. Andrew and Mark actually handled it very well. But there was a huge fight that turned out to be physical in our warehouse. But Mark and Andrew handled it really well between two grown adults, okay? I have no patience for that. So that's the thing about that. So my headaches are really with the older people, not the younger people, which is really crazy. Oh, stop calling me Mr. Handsome, generic username. You're funny. But thank you very much. I'll take the compliment. Would I invest in a hotel? Oh yeah, I think that would be an interesting property, own a motel or hotel. Absolutely. Even now people keep asking me about, would you do the Airbnb? Well, you know what? Maybe. I'm starting to look more. It all depends on how I make out this summer with my seasonal rental property that I have down in Narragansett. If that goes well this summer, then I think that there might be some room for me to, start investing in more hotel, motel, or Airbnb type of properties. Yes, absolutely. Andrew always wins. Whenever there's a disagreement, Andrew wins. I know Sarah. How you doing? Sarah from the West Coast. How are you doing? Where have you been? Haven't seen you in a while. Yeah, buy a Motel 6. They'll leave the lights on for you. Yeah, that's true. I was going to say something negative, but I won't. But, yeah, they will. They'll leave the lights on for you at Motel 6, Let's see, what else we got there? Well, so what's going to happen is, so that's a good question about Tim. So Tim, obviously we have the new Hershey store that's opening up in that building. But our building is only 2 buildings down from there. We literally walk back and forth, so that won't be a problem there. But no, he'll be down with the, he'll stay in our office, so what's happening is that, like I see, the bed bugs too. I was going to say that. I didn't want to. That's what I was going to say. They leave the lights on to keep the bugs away. But actually, lights attract bugs, right? So, I know you're in L.A. So, you've been working a lot? Oh, that's cool. Yeah, no, listen, I encourage people to get into real estate. It's just so difficult right now. I feel like, I'm probably frustrating people because I talk about the real estate and it's just so hard to get into. But like I said, I haven't been able to buy anything either. And I do have to emphasize to people, please do not rush out to buy something just for the sake of buying something, because it will still be there later, and the market has to change because of the fact that you have all these houses that are going to be foreclosed on. There's no way that with half the 35% of renters not paying rent, that means 35% of homeowners are not paying mortgages, in my opinion. It's just that we don't know that because that's not advertised or it's not a news story, you know? So that's why I think you just have to, yeah. So $54 a sheet of plywood, that's the problem too. So supply and demand on houses, right? Supply and demand. So not only do you have the supply and demand, but at the same time, the prices of everything is so expensive right now. To build a house right now, think about it, $54 a sheet of plywood. You know, a year and a half ago, it was, well, $25 a sheet. It's double. But that's everything. The wire is double in the cost right now. So all the materials are double. So that has to get passed on to who? To the buyer, right? So, or in a property owner's position like myself, I'm renovating an apartment. It's costing that much more money to renovate the apartment. The problem with that is this, though. It's not like I can turn around and charge double for an apartment because I won't rent any, right? So that's why, you know, for me, I have to keep the rents, market rents, keep supply and demand, you know. But the prices are ridiculous right now. The price is ridiculous. It's awful. It has to come down. And, you know, it has fluctuated over the last year. There was a point where it was coming down, and then all of a sudden it went back up again. Now, all right, why is everything so expensive? Well, there's a couple of reasons. One, people are not working. The manufacturers are paying overtime to the people that are working, right? So their costs are going up. That's one of the reasons, okay? It's all relative to people not working and being in the workforce, not being in the workforce. And that's what's awful. That's what this is all about. That's what it's all about. It's having people work, and that's what, in my opinion, is because people cannot get people to work, and that's why. You know, and it's unfortunate. And then what happens is that they still have to make the same profit margins, so they're producing less, but they're charging more. So that's the other problem. It's a real shame. I don't know how it's going to correct itself, but for the fact that I think money has to start running out. I can't believe. All right, so you realize something to rent relief, right? So I have tenants that have applied 2 times, 3 times, and just keep getting rent relief. Why aren't they? The money has to run out, you know? There's work out there. There's work. Okay, so we evicted a guy a couple weeks ago. I think I did a TikTok on it. That Messier slob apartment, right? So when we evicted him, the girlfriend calls up Andrew. I'm in my office. I hear Andrew talking to the girlfriend, and she's like, you know, I can't believe you're evicting him, blah, blah, blah. And Andrew's like, well, look, you know, we have work. Oh no, I'm sorry. He says, what do you do for work, to her? Because though she didn't live there, she lived there. So Andrew's like, what do you do for work? She goes, it's COVID. He goes, what do you mean it's COVID? She goes, don't you know it's COVID? Andrew's like, COVID's over. Go get a job. No, I'm out of work because of COVID. So she wouldn't get it through her mind that, yeah, it's time to go to work. No, it's COVID. So then what does the boyfriend do? It's COVID. So Andrew, what did he do before COVID? He was a landscaper. Andrew's like, perfect. We got landscaping jobs here. He can have a job. Click, she hangs up. So that's why when people saw that I evicted him out on the street that day with the moving truck, that's why we offered him work. And the minute I offer somebody a job, and by the way, I'm not offering minimum wage. Starting is $20 an hour. Okay, so you know what? A non-skilled, you know, landscaper, right? As far as I'm concerned, they turn that job down, all bets are off. I don't want to hear it. Okay? That's a lazy bum. Now you got me started, see? Yeah, paint went up. I know paint went up a lot too. Same thing, you know? So, interesting about, yeah, so you're in construction, you didn't get any time off. No, it's true. So, during the, I guess, COVID, you know, I kept all of my employees were working. I kept my construction guys. We were busier then than we are now. Well, we're always busy, but I wanted to get all my flip houses done. So I kept everybody working, And you know, everywhere we go right now, you see there's help wanted signs, sign-on bonuses, help wanted signs. I was driving home today just now, and I heard a commercial for who was it? Oh, some limousine company. They were offering $25 an hour for a CDL driver, drive limousines, $50 an hour to drive like one of those buses, you know? I was like, that's pretty impressive, right? And, you know, like for me, if I have somebody that wants to work for Butler Waste, they want to go get their CDL, I'll pay for them to go get their CDL, right? It shows me that they want to make it. So while they'll do that, we'll hire them. They can be a helper on the truck until they get their CDL, right? But it shows me those are the people that want to work. Those are the people that are looking to work, and that encourages me because they want to make an effort to work. It's the ones that don't want to work. It makes me sick. It makes me. There's a lot of them out there. All right, what else we got? So Home Depot and Lowe's, you know, they're raising prices. Well, it's the same thing, okay? They're publicly traded companies, right? So they have to show profits to their investors, right? But they're raising prices because their products are going up, all right? And you know what? They can't even get some of the products. You know, a lot of the stuff I buy, especially from Home Depot, you know, because I buy a lot of my products from Home Depot. Home Depot has a lot of stuff online that's not in the store. Special order products, especially high-end electrical components, electrical panels, meter sockets, condo packs. They don't carry those in the stores. They can't even get them right now. They can't even get them. So, you know, they can charge whatever for something they can't get. So I don't think it's that they're charging more because of the supply and demand. They're just raising the prices because their distributors are raising the prices. And it is very frustrating. It's very frustrating for everybody. Now, in my audiovisual business, there's a good example. So my audiovisual business, I already own all the equipment I bought over the years, right? I've invested all the equipment over the years. But I will tell you, so let's talk about, I can talk about my business, right? My audiovisual business is the biggest business I own, or the most, you know, the profitable one. So we do conferences, provide production, audiovisual production all over the country for meetings and conferences. So I already own the equipment. So that hasn't changed, right? What has changed is the price of gas to get to the conferences, the price of renting the vehicles, the trucks, and airline tickets. I had to buy an airline ticket this morning, round trip to Phoenix, Arizona, for one of my guys this morning that I bought. It was $1,200 round trip. That's double of what it used to be 3 years ago. So that's where I can see some of the stuff has affected my audiovisual business. So though the equipment hasn't changed because I own it all, there's a good example where my expenses have gone up because of the economy, the economic expenses, the gas, the fuel costs, the plane tickets, the rental trucks. That stuff has gone up. So that's unfortunate. You know what I'm saying? That's unfortunate. So things has affected me in that business. Of course, Butler Waste, the gas prices are going up, but the diesel fuel's going up. You know, that's going up a third. So now we're spending about $5,000 a week on diesel fuel. I told you, I'm the biggest contradictor there is. I drive a Tesla to save money on gas, and I'm spending $5,000 a week on diesel fuel for my trucks. So, I mean, I think it's crazy, you know? Yeah, that's true. Home Depot could be raising prices because of shoplifting, but I think that's all the stores have that problem, right? Shoplifting, the people that walk out with the stuff. You know, that's amazing too when you see, I know on TikTok there's videos and stuff, but even on the news where people just blatantly walk in the store and walk out with stuff knowing that no one's going to stop them. That's unbelievable. I think a third of Rhode Island, so Scott, that's a good point, does not want to work. So there's a statistic for you guys, okay? And I don't know how, all right, this is before COVID. Before COVID, it was announced, and I remember this, 6 out of 10 people in Rhode Island either worked for the state, city government, or collected some sort of assistance. 6 out of 10. That means 4 of us out of 10 actually work and pay into the system. Okay, 6 either works for the state, the city, or now that could be not true, but I remember one of the news stations doing that story. What do you think it is now? I mean, if that was before COVID, 6 out of 10, what is it now? Now, obviously, the people that work for the state or the city are paying into the system. Don't get me wrong, but again, it's not private money. Private industry, only 4 out of 10 people work in private industry. That's crazy. I can't say I have a lot of renters that don't want to work. I can't say that, but I do have a lot of renters who are on collecting rent relief. Now, but I have some, it's interesting because I actually have a couple of renters that are collecting rent relief who have jobs. I don't know how the heck they got the rent relief, but they have jobs. And that's okay with me. It's not my position to question that. Though, to me, it's a little strange. If you have a full-time job, you weren't affected by COVID, how are you getting rent relief? The ones I was talking about earlier obviously don't want to work. When we offered them a job and they hang up the phone, okay, that's a problem. Yes, that's somebody who doesn't want to work. And that's somebody who I don't want to have as a tenant. When their leases are up, I have the right to not renew their lease. I don't think I want to renew. And it's all about character. It's all about, like I said, how they handled themselves during this whole COVID thing. If they made an effort, look, there's a lot of tenants who didn't pay rent, but if they called us up on a regular basis, look, my unemployment ran out, or I stopped getting the bonus. I'm going to be a little late this month. Can I give you this? Can I give you that? We give them payment plans. We don't charge late fees. We don't charge any other fees as long as it's a payment plan and as long as we see that they applied for rent relief. Heather in my office, it's almost full time right now with her dealing with rent relief. She has people at rent relief she deals with. We have a portal we log into. We've had up to 60 tenants apply for rent relief. And I'm glad they're applying. I'm glad they're getting it. But yeah, I think there are a couple of people that chose, you know what? Why should I work? Now, I couldn't live with myself. I couldn't live with showing my kids that example of not wanting to work. Just not wanting to work, because now, what are you teaching them? Don't work. I can't fathom that. I've never, I grew up working. That's what you do. You work for a living. You make money for a living. I can't fathom that. I can't fathom that. So I don't know if I have a lot of renters, maybe a few. So that's interesting. I didn't know that. A lot of the plywood comes from the Ukraine and Russia. I guess it makes sense. Look at the gas prices. They're blaming that on the war. They're blaming, it's just unbelievable. Yeah, they don't want to work for me. I don't give them ice cream. So what's funny about that? Some of my employees are secret shoppers at my ice cream shops. So I do give them the. I have gift cards for the ice cream shops. So what I do is I load them up with money, and I give them to some of my employees that I know the ice cream staff wouldn't know who they are. In fact, one of them is my diesel mechanic. I loaded him up yesterday with $100. So he has a card, and he goes and he shops at the ice cream shop. And his job. Anybody who I give a card to that is an employee, their job is to let me know how the customer service was, bad or good. I need to know. That's how we can improve service. So they are my secret shoppers. So I do give some of my employees free ice cream. And of course, I just started the tenant discount ice cream program, which is going over pretty well. So we'll see how that goes. Hey, tomorrow, Chicken Bucket. Tomorrow is Monday. Yeah. Tomorrow we have a big meeting at the 39 unit because the architects and engineers are going there tomorrow to do the final measuring and planning on the second floor deck. So I'm really happy about that. So tomorrow we're doing that at 1:00. Once they do that, they give me the materials and we can move forward on it. So so that's the update on that. I cannot wait. That's something that's on my mind. I'm anxious to get that second floor deck done. So with the railing, so we can, I can get it rented and move on to my next headache. So that's the story with that. Let's see. Oh, where was I? Oh, my questions. I had a question this morning. So what I did was I went on this morning. I was looking at my TikToks because I always tell people, ask me questions. Yeah, I don't know why the little calendar is missing. That's bothering me. It's like I'm being discriminated against on TikTok. Everyone's always picking on me. But anyway, so the guy left. Good question. So here's what happened, Chicken Bucket. So I evicted everybody that lives in that house. The girlfriend, because she let the guy move in without permission. The guy, and he moved out a couple weeks ago. The dog shooter, he moved out a couple weeks ago, and she is in the process of moving out. And good riddance to her. I hope rent relief is going to stop soon. I really do. Now, one could say, well, Jeff, aren't you worried about not getting your rent? You know, I'll deal with that when I get to it. But when rent relief ends, people will go get jobs. Now, I actually think, here's my other theory. I think a lot of these people that are collecting rent relief have been working under the table. I think, listen, or I should say a lot of the people that were on unemployment during COVID, I think there's been employers that are so desperate for employees, they're paying people in cash under the table. It's a theory I have. And again, those employers are bad employers if they're doing that because they're creating a problem, making a problem worse. And I will tell you why I have that theory. Because I found during last year, the amount of tenants that come in and pay cash for rent has gone up. Well, where's the cash coming from, right? Because if they're getting unemployment, it's going to their bank account, they could just sell it, right? So I don't know. It's just my theory. Just a thought. You know what I'm saying? But I think that people might be working under the table, but again, that's causing a problem in itself, because now it appears that they don't have any income when they do. Who are you to ask Uncle Sam? Who am I to ask Uncle Sam what? Who are you to ask Uncle Sam? I don't know. Yeah, Scott, so you agree with me. Yeah, it's a theory. Like I said, it's a theory. I could be wrong. I'm just thinking, though, that where's the cash coming from, right? Yeah, New Orleans. So I was down in New Orleans in January visiting my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law lives right in New Orleans, right on Decatur Street. And he was talking about that, same thing. I mean, think about it. That's a touristy location, tourist area, and they can't get people to work, and that's the income, right? Tourist areas, that's how they survive, Are you Uncle Sam? So Kirby, you seem to be taking offense to my opinion. What is your opinion? Please feel free to share with us. My opinion is not always right. That's why I like to hear other people's opinions. I mean, I could be wrong. If you want to tell me what you're thinking, Kirby, I'd like to know, and we can have a little bit of a debate. Because again, listen, when I give my opinion, I'm not all knowing, and I'm not jamming things down people's throat. I think you know that, everybody, right? I just telling you how I feel. My experiences, where I've gotten to, how I've gotten here, and, but why is Kirby asking me why I'm Uncle Sam? Well, so that's different. So, all right, so Chicken, but I can understand that. Okay, at the same time, too, a part-time job. If you're working full-time, you got a part-time job, you're doing landscaping, we all know that's how people probably, you're going to cut grass, people are going to pay in cash, that type of thing. That's different. I'm talking about people that are working full-time, collecting unemployment or getting rent relief, working full-time. And at what point do you go back to work and just say, okay, fine, The problem is, hey, look, human nature, right? I'm the same way. We all get used to making that extra money, and you want to keep making the extra money. So I can understand that too, So Scott, so that's what I was saying. So what happened was, not even the double dipping. So I talked about this before. If you were an employee before making minimum wage, right? So you're making, we'll just say $15 an hour. So $600, not even minimum wage, above minimum wage, $600 a week. So if you were making $600 a week, taking home, say, $400 a week, right? $450. You took home $450. That's what you lived off of. Now you get unemployed, right? They lay you off. They lay you off. You're getting $450 a week. Plus, they had the bonus going on for a while, $500 at one point. Now you're taking home $900 a week, right? That's what people got used to. People got used to making $900 a week, okay, during COVID, more than what they actually made when they had their job. And that's the problem. How do you get away? It's not their fault because you get used to it. It's like me. If I make $1,000 a week, I'll spend $1,001, right? Everyone spends more than what they make. It's human nature. We all do it. And so that was my whole point with the whole thing is, yes, people got used to making or taking home more money. And now how do you go back? And by the way, that was sitting at home watching Judge Judy. That was not going out to a job and sweating. Now we're saying, hey, go back to your job and sweat and make less money than what you were making. Human nature. How do you get past that? How do you fix that problem? You know, I really wanted, here it is. I wanted to find out what Kirby had to say. Oh, Kirby's saying if they pay cash, take it. So I understand what you're saying, Kirby, but the problem with that is that means you're not paying into the system. And I don't know if you're saying take the cash on top of your regular paycheck or unemployment, but I understand that if people pay cash, take it. I mean, I understand what you're saying. The problem is that obviously there are laws against that. You should be paying into the system a little bit. Look, it's like waiters and waitresses, right? So they get a very, very small minor paycheck. They make their money off of tips, right? Are they going to declare all the tips they make? Should they? Well, legally they should. Do they? No. You know what? That's their money. They got paid in cash. It's their money. They earned it. They work hard. Waiters and waitresses, to me, are some of the hardest workers, in my opinion, out there, especially if they're a good career waiter or waitress, right? So, if they get paid in cash, why should they give away their money, right, to Uncle Sam? So I agree with that, okay? But at the same time, I'm talking about the people that now are working full-time under the table and taking the government money, the rent relief, the unemployment. That's what I'm talking about. How are we going to get the economy back to normal if this is going on? That's all I'm saying. Don't we want to go back to the way it was like 5 years ago? The economy was good. Everybody had money. Everyone was surviving. Things were good. Amusement parks were thriving. Entertainment complexes were thriving. We were all out. We were traveling. Everything was good 5 years ago. Don't people want to get back to that point? Families were thriving. Families were traveling. Parents were teaching kids, hey, this is what you do. This is how you raise your kids. You work, and you can go on vacations. Don't we want to get to that point again? I don't know. Maybe not. I know I do. Oh, it's that one there. All right. Oh, Michigan stop rent relief. So, Rhode Island. Listen, anybody in Rhode Island that's watching me right now, make money. Rhode Island has so much rent relief money. They're running commercials 24 hours a day. Apply for rent relief. Okay, I cannot believe the amount of commercials I see on TV. Apply for rent relief. You're all entitled. Good, apply for. I see it. Make money. You should apply. I mean, everyone should apply for rent relief. Yes, Scott, I understand with you. I agree with you. But it's great. I see these commercials in Rhode Island. They're running these commercials. No one's going on vacation this year because of the airlines. Well, that's exactly right. So that's why the whole economy is screwed up right now. Well, so because people stay closer to home, people aren't going on vacation. So everything's messed up. Everything's messed up right now. The commercials tell you what's going on. So the rent relief commercials in Rhode Island are crazy. Apply for rent relief. You're entitled to it. Apply for the free money. You're entitled to it. So I guess the good news on that is once it runs out, it runs out. I hope they don't go back to the government, doesn't go back and give more. I don't think they can. The name of my ice cream shops. So 3 of them are Dear Hearts ice cream, and of course the new one is Hershey's in Warwick, Hershey's of Warwick. But the 3 of them are Dear Hearts ice cream, the 3 that I currently own right now. So, hey, Big Mac, why, Brian, I appreciate you. I understand your opinion. I mean, it is what it is. You know, what's crazy is I offer as a courtesy to my tenants Wi-Fi. Okay, it's in the buildings. Do you know in rent relief they actually give the tenants $150 for internet? Why? I'm giving it to them. You know, so that's crazy. You know. So listen. As far as I'm concerned, I don't understand. Okay, because they've never published this. I don't understand the criteria for getting approved from rent relief. I know for a fact I have some tenants that work full-time that are getting rent relief. So I'm saying in Rhode Island, if you're following me on TikTok, so what? Get denied. Why not apply? Apply. Try it. See what happens. All right? I say go for it. Go for it. Make money. Anybody that's a tenant, I say apply for rent relief, whether you have a job or not, because they're giving it out to some of my tenants that have jobs. So let's use it up. Let's use it up. Let's make them run out of rent relief as far as I'm concerned. Use it up. Yes, make money. Even SSI people are getting rent relief, which doesn't make sense to me, right? Because their income was never affected during COVID. The SSI people, Social Security people, Section 8 people, their income was, well, some Section 8 people may have been affected because, see, Section 8 people still may have full-time jobs, but they're getting the assistance. And if their job got affected, then yes, they would be legitimately, eligible for rent relief. But people on SSI, why? Why? They didn't get affected. But I have some people that have regular jobs, in private industry that applied and got approved. And I've also had some applying and not get approved. But I say it's worth asking. At this point, why not? They seem to be giving it out, why not? And by the way, to Kirby, who was talking about taking the cash, it's cash, whatever. I have no problem with people applying for rent relief and getting it, whether they have a full-time job or not. Okay, that's fine with me. It's there. They're offering the money, give it to. But I'm talking about the under-the-table money is a little bit more suspect. That's all I'm saying. Yes, exhaust the rent relief. That's what I say. I say exhaust it. Exhaust the rent relief, and then you know what? And then people have to go back to work. Yes, I have apartments for rent now. So we always have apartments rent. I noticed when I was in the office the other day, I think there was like 6 listed up on the board. What happens is we're remodeling and renovating. So every week, if we finish an apartment, it goes up on the board for rent. But we do have stuff for rent now, and we have a variety. We have some studios. I think we have 1 studio now, unless it got rented, but 1 bedroom, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, just take the cash and smile. I understand what you're saying. I'm not disagreeing with you. And yes, we are hiring. So I don't know what type of skills you have. So here's what I always tell everybody, right? Because look, I'm open-minded. I'll give you an example. We had somebody apply for, she applied for a job at the ice cream shop, and she was 21, and we needed somebody in the office too. So I said, look, come in and meet with me. Let's talk about your skill sets, right? So we did. We talked about her skill sets, and it was kind of cool because I hired her to become a manager, actually, at the ice cream shop, trained her to be a manager, but also she's going to be a full-time manager this summer, and in the fall, she'll come work in the office full-time. So I always like to tell people, if you're asking me if we're hiring, you can email me. So I got my private, up in my bio, I have a link to my email address, which goes right to my private email. So it doesn't go anywhere else. It just goes to me. And I always tell people, look, if you're interested in working for me, send me an email. Tell me what your skill set is, and send me your contact information. I would love to sit down and talk to anybody, because you never know. From the fact that we're looking for property managers to maintenance people, to carpenters, plumbers, electricians. Obviously, I don't know what your skill sets are, until I meet with you and talk to you. And that's why I always like to talk to people and find out and see if there's something that I can make up a job based on all the different things that I need done, So that works. And oh, look at that. Okay, all right. So even now, I renewed an ad today because we're always looking for carpenters, So I renewed an ad today, and I just saw a couple of applications come in. But anyway, so that's the story with that. Let's see. So you have a lot of companies paying cash. So no. So what happens is, in fact, I talked about this the other day. So everyone's on payroll in my companies. What's happening is there's so many tenants paying cash right now that come in and pay cash that the banks charge a fee. So if you go, some banks charge a fee. If you go deposit cash now, a lot of cash, 3,000-4,000, they charge a cash counting fee. Cheap bastards. TD Bank just started doing it to me. I run millions through their bank all year long, and they're going to charge me for depositing cash, the ass wipes. So what I've been doing now is legally is when my employees get their actual paychecks, we use a payroll company, I will cash their check for them. They don't have to go to the bank. They sign the check. I cash for them. I run it through the machine. So that way I don't have to deposit the cash. So I don't have to worry about the cash. And it saves my employee from going to the bank. So it works out good for both of us. But no. So again, it's one of those things where, we're doing it legit. Everyone's on pay. So what happens is this, okay? I don't know how others can do it and hide all this cash. Hide cash. Cash is king. For me, I have to show the tax write-off. I have to show the expense, or I end up having to pay the IRS. So that's why I need all the expenses I can get. That's why I want everybody on the books, because I need the expenses. Once in a while we'll hire somebody legitimately and legally. You're allowed to pay, I think, up to $600 a year to somebody, in cash without reporting it. So once in a while, the audiovisual company, if we hire somebody out of state to work for us for a day or something, we pay them a couple $100. That would be cash. But you're allowed to do that. Yeah, if it wasn't 6 hours away, you'd apply. Yeah, that would be a long commute. Breaking news. What? Make money. What's the breaking news now? You always seem to be breaking news during my lives. Oh, all right. Thanks for the update. Where was I? So as a business owner, you always have to look to ways to save money, right? I mean, little ways to make, like I said, isn't a lot of money, the cash counting fee. I think they charge, I don't know what it is, like on $5,000, they might charge $50. But why am I going to give them the $50, right? The bank. So it adds up. So that's why things like that, I'm not going to let the banks take advantage of me. Now, I will tell you, Bank RI, who's my new bank, who just did the loan for the 39 unit, they don't charge the cash counting fee if I wanted to deposit the cash into their bank. But at this point, again, it's one of those things where it's convenient for me to cash the checks for the employees, when I can. Because here's the problem. So many people are paying in cash. I have to deposit into the bank to cover my mortgages, my bills. I have to go to the bank to put it in. 3-0, that's good. So, let's see, where was I here? I was answering a question from before. Yeah. I'm just looking at my little... So, the $5 that I know it doesn't sound like a lot of money, the discount that we're giving to the tenants for the ice cream. And, but it's one of those things where it's more like, what, hey, I appreciate you paying your rent on time and I got the ice cream business, so why not do it, right? It kind of makes sense, right? Why, and for the most part, my ice cream shops are pretty much near most of my properties anyway. So... what type of finance can you get for a multifamily? That's a good question. So, I'm actually going through a refinance right now, and I think I got, which I wasn't really thrilled about it because the interest rates are going up, 5.8% On a multi. Well, actually, actually it's two multifamilies. So yeah, one's a 4 unit and then the other one's a 3 unit. That's because the interest rates are going up, and but I know for a fact I can get a little bit better rate than that because I'm doing another loan that I think is going to be in the high fours. But the problem is the rates keep going up and up and up and up. So I that's going to deter people from buying as well. These are two refinances I started like 4 months ago, and it's taken forever to go through, and which is a real challenge. So do I invest in the stock market? Very little. So I do. So I will tell you how I invest in the stock market because I'm not a jack of all trades, right? So I don't know a lot about the stock market. I've never really educated myself a lot on it. But what I do is Chase Bank has this really good savings account. So I deposit $1,000 a month into the account, and they invest it for me in the stock market. And they ask you, do you want to be aggressive? Do you want to be conservative? You know, they'll invest it. So I started that about a year ago, and so I have 12,000 in there, but really I have about 13,200 in there. Over the year, it's earned about $1,200, which is not bad. So that's the one way I invested in the stock market. The other way is because I own a Tesla, I bought some Tesla shares way back when. When Apple came out with the iPhone, I bought some Apple shares way back when. So I believe in the products that I own. AT&T, I bought some AT&T shares, and that's pretty. And Coca-Cola, I own some Coca-Cola stock that I bought years ago. Well, actually, I inherited the Coca-Cola stock, but I bought some Disney stock years ago. So not a lot. It is what it is. I don't even look at it. If somebody asks me, what's it? I have no idea. I haven't looked at it in months. That's not my forte. I'm not really into this stock market. I'm not excited about the stock market at all. I'm more excited about real estate. And like I said, this Chase one I like because when I log into my Chase account with my credit card and my savings checking, I see that one go up every month. So that one's kind of a cool investment account. It's a self-managed investment account, it's called at Chase Bank. And like I said, I opened it up about a year ago and just started putting $1,000 a month into it. And they invest it and it makes money. So it's kind of cool. Hey, West Greenwich, how you doing? I prefer multifamily homes. Well, my multis I keep. The singles I buy and I fix and I flip. So I like them both. But I mean, specifically, I buy single families at the right price. I'll fix them up, remodel them, and sell them. The multifamilies I buy, I fix up, and I keep them, hopefully for long term. So yeah, I do have Tesla stock. I have 5 shares. That's it. When I bought my Tesla back in 2019, November 2019. I bought 5 shares just to have 5 shares of Tesla, just to have it. Of course, it's multiplied since then, so the 5 shares has gone up. But yeah, no, I don't. Like I said, I've never really. What do I like about my Tesla? So I will tell you what I like about my Tesla. It's fast. It's quiet. So one of the big things about it is quiet, right? There's no engine, right? It's quiet. So I like that. It's fast. Even though I don't drive fast, it's fast to pick me up. You know, getting on the highway, getting off the highway, stuff like that, in and out of traffic. That's where it's convenient because I'm not really a speeder. So I like that about the Tesla. I like the technology. Even today, it does an update almost every day. There's always updates. Now, what do I like about Tesla? That's what I like about that. Here's what I don't like about the Tesla. Every time it does an update, I have to relearn the whole friggin' thing all over again. When they do an update, it's completely different. My whole home screen changed. The icons down the bottom. The icons used to be bigger. I have bad eyes. The icons used to be, so when I'm driving, I used to be able to look down and see them. Now I can't. So that's a negative to me. But that's the positive on the Tesla is that they always are doing an update. It's always improving. It's always getting better. The screens are getting better. The cameras are getting better. So I do like my Tesla, but it was funny. I was talking to my wife about it today. I used to have a GMC Yukon Denali. I loved it. It was a big, luxurious, comfortable 7-passenger SUV, right? I loved it. I went from that to the Tesla, right? Thinking, okay, Now, again, this is pre-Butler waste, right? So I'm thinking, okay, great. I'm going from the gas guzzler down to the, gas, no gas, right? With the Tesla. I'm all excited for myself. I like the fact that I pull in the garage, I plug it in. That's why I don't have to go to a gas station. I can't even think of the last time I went to a gas station. So that's kind of fun, right? Not having to go to a gas station, I'm just plugging in the car. Of course, now I have Butler waste, and like I said, I use $5,000, literally over $5,000 a week in diesel fuel for my truck. So having a Tesla now is not as exciting as it was because I was really saving a lot of money before. But I do like the Tesla. It's a nice car. It's luxurious inside. It's comfortable. The cup holders suck. Probably the worst cup holders in the industry, and that's a big thing to me. But I love the car. I love the screen. I love the technology. So here's the story on that. So when I bought my Tesla in 2019, there were a lot of used ones. They were like plentiful, You go on now, you want to get one. I just saw where, 4 to 5 months to get one, the waiting list on the Teslas. I mean, obviously in the 2 years I've had mine, the company's exploded. I had to bring mine in for service last week because one of the sensors in the front, for some reason, in the bumper, it just like fell inside. So they fixed it under warranty, no big deal. But I did that last week. But I like it. I recommend it to people. There's no doubt in my mind I recommend it to people. But if they came out with the Yukon Denali in electric, 100%, I'd go back to that. Just because the largeness, moving stuff. I was so used to moving stuff for the different businesses, throwing shit in the back, stuff like that. The Tesla does have the big back, but not as big as I usually put the seats down the Yukon. I could put a sheet of plywood in there. Not that I would. I'm just saying you could. You have the option. So that's the story of that. Would I run Edison's at Butler? I guess I would, yeah. So there's so many, right? Oh, so here's I talked about this before. So before Tesla even came out, I watched, even before I was interested I've always been interested in electric cars, but who killed the electric car? I don't know if anyone's ever seen that documentary. I don't know where it is now, if it's on Netflix. It was on Netflix for a while. Who Killed the Electric Car? It was a documentary about when electric cars came out back in like 2000, I think, year 2000, and how all the car companies did not want anything to do with electric cars. None of them wanted anything to do with electric cars. Not one. So there's a whole thing called Who Killed the Electric Car? It's a documentary, and it's a true story. Even sort of like Tom Hanks had one because they were expensive. So the celebrities all could afford them, right? So what happened was they wouldn't sell them. They were all leases. And when this controversy came up where they stopped making them and they wanted them off the streets, they came and they took them all and they destroyed them all. Then, fast forward 4 years later, here comes Elon Musk, right? He comes out with the Tesla. Well, Elon Musk did not make gas-powered vehicles. He was not beholden to any oil companies, gas companies, anything. He came out with the Tesla. Now look, all the companies now are making electric cars. It's amazing how it turned around. But I suggest people watch Who Killed the Electric Car. You won't believe the story. It's a true story, and it's about the first electric cars, and it was amazing. Hydrogen-powered cars. Well, that's true. You never know. That might be the way to go, too. I mean, that might even be cheaper to run. Because, I mean, listen, Tesla's battery-operated cars have to charge, right? So you're still using electricity to charge them. How are they creating electricity? Oil, right? That's how they, right? Well, okay, solar, but not really. Wind power, but not really. I mean, most of the electricity is still generated by fossil fuels. You know what's interesting about that make money? The smart cars, I looked at them, they don't get great gas. For being a tiny car, they don't get great gas mileage at all. I looked at those because I thought about those for my property managers. And though they're really cool cars because they're small, the first time I ever saw a smart car was I was in England with actually just before we got married in 2004, because they were not in the United States yet. We were in England. And in London, it's very, very tight, very small. The streets are narrow, and that's a ton of smart cars. Because think about it, 2 cars could fit in one spot. And I saw them there. I said, oh, those are really cool. Then, of course, they came to the United States. But yeah, I do. So I have a solar panel. So I have solar panels on the roof of my house. And that's what I charge my Tesla with. So I literally do get free. My Tesla is literally free to drive, okay? So I'm not paying for the electricity for my Tesla. But when you think about it, it's really a moot point because I'm spending $5,000 a week on diesel fuel for my trucks. And I can't get past that. The fact that I bought the Tesla to save money on gas, and then I end up starting this stupid, not stupid, I start this company that uses these trucks that get 5 miles to the gallon with diesel fuel. So it's just kind of ironic how the whole thing happened with me, Well, that's a good question. Scott, that's a really good question. Will the power grid handle all the only way it would work is if people had individual solar panels on their roofs. So yeah, that's a really good point. I didn't think of that if everyone got electric cars. But I guess it's like everybody using air conditioning at the same time in the summer, right? They always worry about the grid going down in the summer if we have a heat wave, What kind of maintenance do I have to do on the Tesla? So far since I've had the Tesla, since November 2019, so I've had about 2.5 years. The only maintenance I've done on it is brakes. It needed brakes, and tire changes. That's it. Brakes and tire changes. That's it. Nothing else. It doesn't need any maintenance. It does its own software updates automatically. So that's what's interesting about Tesla. So it's on here at the house in the garage. I have a router, and in the car you set up on your network in the house, right? So this morning I woke up. Yep, it had an update, and so it's always up to date. The software is always up to date. So literally the only maintenance I've had to do on it is tire changes. That's it, and that's it. Yeah, sell Butler Waste to Bryan. Bryan doesn't want Butler Waste. He wants audiovisual services. Does the Tesla talk to me? Only when I use the GPS, but no, it doesn't talk to me. Only, like I said, when I use the GPS on it, it tells me where to go. Just like everybody else tells me where to go. It tells me where to go. But I like the Tesla. Like I said, it's a nice car. I think what's going to happen as the luxury car companies start coming up with electric cars themselves, you're going to see a balance in the market. Right now, Tesla's, for the most part, the only game in town. I understand there's Kia that has one. I understand there's other, cars that have, vehicle manufacturers that have electric cars. But when you start seeing the luxury cars, becoming electric, then you'll see the playing field change. You never rumors. What's the rumors? What's that? You guys are funny. So anyway, I what else did I want to talk about? What else did I want to talk about while we're at it? Talked about the maintenance on the Tesla. Well, I wouldn't know. What's a death trap? I can't say it's a death trap. The car feels very safe to me. I mean, it's a very heavy car. It's 6,000 pounds. It's a very, very heavy car. I feel very safe in it. To be honest with you, when I'm driving it, that's not a problem. I will tell you. So, as you know, I own my company owns 3 Priuses that we use for the property managers, and I think they're a great car. I used to joke about them, not being able to get out of each other's way and this and that. 52 miles to the gallon. What a great, great car for what I do for my property managers, be driving around the properties all day long. That right there is a money saver. When they come out with Prius garbage trucks, then we'll be all set. Hybrid garbage trucks. But no, the Priuses, I got to tell you something. I can't say anything negative about the Prius. I think it's a great, great car. Andrew drives a Prius, so that's what happened, right? Andrew drives a Prius, so we need to get another energy efficient car for the office. So Andrew and I were talking about getting him. He would be the next one to upgrade. So either a used Tesla or a newer Prius, and that's what we've been looking for. We've been looking for something. Right now, there's nothing. No, Andrew's my nephew, actually. Andrew and Bryan are both my nephews. They're brothers, but they're my nephews. They're my brother's sons. But yeah, so we've been looking at getting him something. But right now, there isn't anything out there, right? The price of cars are going up, right? Same thing, supply and demand. So that's a problem. And even the Teslas, that's why I was looking the other day, and there's just nothing out there right now, which is a challenge. And that's pretty much, that's pretty much it. I don't know why my yeah, Bryan gets a Porsche. Yeah. He wouldn't fit into a Porsche. Yes, Bryan is the AV. Yeah, Bryan is the AV Bryan. So Bryan actually used to work for audiovisual services before COVID. So Bryan, my nephew, he was a salesman for audiovisual services before COVID. When COVID started in audiovisual services, that's what I want to talk about. When COVID started in audiovisual services went into hiatus, and I started Butler Waste, Bryan went over to Butler Waste, Joe went over to Butler Waste. A lot of them, Mike went over to Butler Waste, helped me get that business started. And then Bryan stayed with Butler Waste until a few weeks ago, a month ago, and now Bryan's going back to audiovisual services. And now we have Nicole and Johanny managing Butler Waste. So that's what happened there. Yeah. So what happened was audiovisual services is very, very busy right now. What we found in audiovisual services, and that's what I meant to say too, I was talking about this earlier, a lot of AV companies went out of business during COVID because I guess, of course, there was no business, right? A lot of them went out of business. But even though business is back right now, prices are not out of control, though I did see the hotels raise their prices a little bit, but we're not. We're pretty much charging what we charged before, which is very good. I'm glad we kept our prices consistent. I mean, I'm sure our clients are happy. I don't know who's here. And did you get your Butler building completed? Butler Waste. So the building's completed except the paint. We're just finishing the painting of it. But I actually had to pull the painter out of. He was doing the outside. We sided it, but he was doing the outside. I had to pull him because I'm opening the new ice cream shop. So I want to get that painted so we can get open. So I have to get that open. Oh yeah. Oh, Bryan wants the Porsche. He can't fit in a Porsche. We don't have an AV Porsche for sale. Yeah, Tim's company. So Tim wants a Porsche. So Tim already has the car. He has the Fiat, right? Tim's driving the Fiat. Bryan, you're killing me. You guys, Andrew's better looking, better is here. Andrew's better looking. Oh, Bryan says he can fit in anything but a 911. That's awful. What do you mean that's awful? You just told me today you couldn't fit into a Jeep. That's funny. He's a hot shit. He's a hot shit, Bryan, Now all of a sudden, I know what I'm gonna do. Everyone. We're gonna have some fun right now. I hope. Nothing goes easy for me. Let's see. Oops. Let's do this. We're gonna do this. All right. Let's do this. Here we go. Let's see if this works.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, Brian.
How's it going?
I'm calling you live on TikTok.
It's funny because I was just trying to call you.
Where are you? Okay.
Yeah, I think you misunderstood. So what happened was Tim is watching the live with me here, and Tim said, "Tell Jeff I want a F-150 for a company vehicle and not a shitty one. They do make an electric one, and definitely not a Prius because he doesn't like the Prius."
Tim wants an F-150?
Yeah,
Oh, he can drive the silver truck.
you can drive the silver truck.
That counts as a shitty one.
That counts as a shitty one. Yeah, that's what he said.
No, I'm joking. He could. How about the red 250?
How about the red 250
With all three tires?
with all three tires?
That's right. So I'm going to tell everybody to TikTok. So here's my problem. I haven't been at the office in a month, right? I told everybody this. I have not been to the office in a month. So I drive by there a couple weeks ago. I see one of our red pickup trucks has a flat tire. So I tell somebody going to fix it? Yep. I go by there last Monday. Still has a flat tire. Am I going to fix it? Nope. I go by there Friday. Nope. So for some reason, nobody will fix this flat tire on the red pickup truck. How come, Brian?
Well, so it's not my that's not my department, but the guy who is fixing it, I believe he did get 4 new tires. The issue is we tried to patch that tire to try to say, salvage the.
I told Mike just buy 4 new tires for it.
Yeah.
Right,
I think
so
initially we tried to patch it though. That's.
So Tim doesn't like his company car now that he drives?
Not as much as an F-150.
Not as much as an F-150.
Well, what's the little thing you drive, the little Ford Ranger?
That's my truck. I can't drive
Not
that.
his personal truck, I know.
It's got 250,000 miles on it.
You know what the problem with buying the pickup trucks for the property managers, though, Tim, and you know this, especially you being the district manager for the ice cream shops, too. You're on the road all day long. So I'd be spending 50 bucks a day on gas. Huh?
Yeah.
Well, that's an easy problem to solve. Just spend more at Home Depot and then you get more gas points, right?
Hey, Brian.
Yes, sir.
Chicken Bucket suggests that you get a smart car. What do you think of that idea if I get you a smart
That's a terrible idea. That's an awful. I'm sorry. This chicken bucket guy sounds like
we should buy one just to see him get into it.
you saw the video that Jeff posted of me on the scooter. That's about the same equivalent as what I would look like, but inside of a vehicle instead of actually on top of a vehicle.
So, by the way, everybody, so I want to let everybody know. So, I'm talking to Brian, the famous Brian, but also Tim happens to be with Brian, and Tim is a property manager. He's also my district manager for the ice cream shops. So, we got the best of both worlds here. If anybody wants to ask any questions here, you can ask an ice cream shop question. You can ask Brian a Butler Waste or an audiovisual services question. So, we got all kinds of, listen, this is great. But anyway, Brian, if you would like, I will be glad to get you a smart car.
No. I'm going to go with a Wrangler. I've settled on that. I got to find one that, the one today, the issue was I couldn't push the seat far enough back. The TJ model, the seat doesn't go back as far as the one that I had a long time ago, which was the next generation. But they do actually make an adapter. It's like $100 and it extends the rails that the seats are on for people that are taller. I have an issue where I'm slightly taller and I also have a big gut. So,
yes, you are. Hey, make money. To answer your question, do you remember the TV show The Odd Couple? Does everybody remember the TV show The Odd Couple? Brian, do you remember the TV show The Odd Couple?
Yes, I do.
All right.
But I mostly saw it in syndication.
Okay. But anyway, you remember the TV show, right?
Yes, I do.
Would you say that's like you and Tim, the odd, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Are we talking about the one with Balky and what different one?
No, that's Felix and Oscar, and I'm Felix.
Yeah, he's Felix, I guess. I guess I'm Oscar.
You're Oscar. Yeah, because Felix was the neat.
Felix.
Yeah, Felix was the neat, organized guy, and Oscar was the slob.
I'm not a slob per se. There's certain areas where I'll admit I'm a slob, but I'm pretty neat and organized.
Okay.
I'm organized where I need to be.
So somebody right now says they'd always like to own an ice cream shop.
Oh.
So somebody's asking, they'd like to own an ice cream shop. Is it profitable? So, I've answered that before. Where it's profitable as long as we maintain the expenses. In fact, it's interesting, Tim. You just brought that up to me the other day. We were talking about, you asked me, did I ever figure out my food costs?
Yeah, that's definitely an expense you need to cover.
Well, no,
He's not
because Tim asked me that the other day. He said, Jeff, did you actually ever sit down and figure out your food costs? Right? Is he there?
Yeah, he's there.
Correct. Yeah. If you control your food costs, you're not paying a franchise fee, you can absolutely be profitable.
Right. So everybody, Tim has many, many, many years of being a district manager and a business owner, a restaurant owner in D'Angelo's. So he can answer questions much better than I can when it comes to that. And he was talking to me about that the other day, about managing my food costs. And that's something that we should look at now that we've gotten the business under control, the business model, start looking at food costs and profitability.
We have a great opportunity with the new stores. It's somewhat separated where we should be able to track it a lot more specifically. And you'll have a nice model to work off of.
Oh, that's true. That's a good point. That's a very, very good point. You know? So, Bryan,
Yeah.
Make Money said that it would be profitable, but not if you own a Taco Bell, it wouldn't be.
That wouldn't be profitable. No. And it probably wouldn't go too well for my health either.
No. So here's a question. Would you recommend opening a new ice cream shop or buying an established one? So for me, opening up a new one is better because I have the expertise. I know how to open up the store. I know how to open up efficiently and inexpensively. For somebody who's never been in the business, buying an established one might be the way to go because it's turnkey. You're already buying an established business. But for me, I would probably not see myself ever buying one that's already established. I'd rather establish it myself, you know. And now the Hershey store that we're opening up is a huge experiment that, you know, Tim and I are doing, and it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. Don't you think, Tim?
100%. I think it could be great.
Yeah, it's going to be a it's an interesting experiment, and I'm excited about it because it is something fresh, you know. But anyway, so that's the story with that. But we definitely do have to get we are short one company car, so we do have to get another company car. I don't want to be spending the money. So that's what I was saying. I don't know if you guys heard, Tim and Bryan. I was talking about the fact that I got the Tesla to save money on gas. I was all excited about driving an electric vehicle. And then I started Butler Waste of Money, where we spend $5,000 a week on gas. Right?
Yeah.
You know, what a hypocrite I am.
Yep. No, you're right. It's only because the price of diesel went up.
Yeah, no kidding.
All I know is that before I switched back to AV, when I was running it, the fuel seemed to cost a lot less. So I'm not saying it's Nicole's fault, but
yeah, Bryan
can control the national.
Bryan, Make Money wanted me to tell you the Celtics are up.
Oh hell yeah, the Celtics are in great position right now.
Yep. The problem is today's vehicles are really expensive right now. Yes, they are, Scott. They're unbelievable. The price of everything is expensive. I mean, Bryan, you're looking for a newer car or a different car to drive, right?
So I just saw a thing the other day. The average price on a new car in America right now is $47,000 for a new car.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Who can afford that?
You get these commercials where they're selling these, I don't know, Range Rovers, and what was the one that Tim saw the other day?
Grand Wagoneer, $89,000.
Something called a Grand Wagoneer. Sounds like something from the 80s, and it's $89,000. Crazy.
I'm going to tell you, you mentioned Range Rover. I'm going to tell one of my quick TikTok stories. So in 1995...
No, we're not a couple. We're good friends.
What?
Chicken Bucket asked if Tim and I are a couple.
Oh, yeah. No. Trust me, they're good friends. They're both womanizers. It's unbelievable. It's crazy. They're male whores. It's unbelievable. I gotta keep the. Do you know how much money they waste going to the Foxy Lady? It's unbelievable. You know, Bryan's always asking me, "You got any ones on you to go to the Foxy?" So they're unbelievable, the two of them. But anyway, so I want to tell you a quick TikTok. What was I going to tell you a story? Oh, my Range Rover story. So in 1995, I don't know if you guys know this. Land Rover came out with Range Rover came out with a new vehicle called the Land Rover Discovery. The Discovery came out in 1995. So Jeff Butler, meaning me, big shot, think, I'm going to get a Land Rover Discovery. It's a brand new vehicle. I'm going to buy it. I'm a big shot. I'm going to get it all souped up, blah, blah, blah. So I buy the thing, and I hated it. I got it in July of 1995. No, I had that, and I also I had a red Ford van that I drove for my business. And I bought the Discovery thing. I'm going to reward myself. Big mistake. I just started my business. Who the hell am I to buy this car? What a stupid mistake I made buying this stupid car. Anyway, I hated it. So I had just started dating Carissa at the time, my wife. And she was home from school for the summer. And you know what? I let her drive it. I went in it. I let her drive it. And in fact, like I said, I let everybody drive it. Her brother was going to the prom. Yeah, take it. I hope you total it. It's like I hated it. And so that's a true story. I did not like the Land Rover Discovery. I was lucky I was able to sell it and pay off the loan and get out of it as quick as I could. I had it for about a year, and that was it. No, I'll tell you why I hated it. Because it broke. There was no dealer around where I lived. It was in Massachusetts, in Natick, Mass., and it broke down twice. It had some weird fuel problem when I only had 500 miles on it. So I hated the vehicle. Anyway, that's my quick Land Rover Discovery story. So just want to tell everybody that story. Pressure washing. Yeah, Chris, we're always looking for pressure washers. I like to go around and refresh, clean up all the property, especially the ice cream shops. We periodically like to do that. Anyway, if you want, email me in my private, again, in my bio, you can email me. There's a link to my email there, So anyway, Brian, what are you going to do? You going to sell me your Prius or what?
Yeah, we're talking about it. I think we're in what they call the bartering stage, and then we'll probably enter the honeymoon phase when I come down to your price.
Okay, that sounds good to me. So Brian drives a Prius, and he knows how much I like Priuses, and he wants to get a new car, so I want to buy his Prius from him. So that's what we're talking about there, So who's the employee of the month, Brian, Tim, or Andrew? Well, Tim already won Employee of the Month, didn't he, a couple months ago?
You did a couple months ago, yes.
Tim?
Yeah, I think the torch should be passed to somebody else.
Okay, all right, okay. So it would have to be either Brian or Andrew. Andrew's won Employee of the Month before. All right, so Brian, it might be your turn. We're gonna have to vote on it. Listen, I'm gonna have to vote on it. Me, myself, and I.
Who it should be a tough negotiation.
Yeah, who gets the final vote? The tiebreaker. Is it you, yourself, or you?
Yeah, well, I guess I identify as them right now that I'm me, myself, and I. Do I identify as them? So check the battery out before you buy. Oh yes, I know. That's a very good point. On those, to make sure the battery isn't bad on those. I'm my only employee of the month. I'm a sole proprietor. Well, Chris, that's true. You know what? You can only blame yourself, right? But here's the good news: you can always take credit for yourself too. So when your employees when you have a customer who's very happy, you can thank yourself, right? That's funny. All right. So, Brian, you're going to win Employee of the Month, and I'm going to get you a Taco Bell gift card. Make Money suggested that.
Sounds good.
Yeah, all 3 votes. Oh, yeah. I have 20 votes because of all my LLCs. That's right. Oh, good question. Do you take credit cards at your ice cream stores? So, yes, I do. Now, the reason why that's a good question is this. Most ice cream shops, seasonal ice cream shops, don't take credit cards. It's cash only, hide the money from the government, all this bullshit, right? So, from the minute I opened up my first ice cream store, I started taking credit cards. Credit cards are important to take because more people use credit cards and debit cards now. I mean, Tim, you see what do you think the percentage is between credit cards and cash now?
It's right around 50%.
Yeah, 50%. So think about if I didn't take the credit cards, right? What does that mean? Do I lose some of those customers? Probably.
Not only that, but the people that will use a credit card are more likely to buy more.
To spend more, that's true. Good point. That's exactly right.
It's much higher with a credit card.
Yeah. So I do take credit cards. I'm glad I take credit cards. I wish it was more credit cards because there's less cash in the stores. So I wish more and more people use credit cards, you know? So, hey, you know what, Tim? I might as well ask you the question because you're the one who's been dealing with this. How do you find the 14 and 15-year-old staff that you've been hiring this year?
To tell you the truth, exactly what you'd expect. You're gonna have challenges. You're gonna have things that they need to learn that they don't realize, such as what responsibility really means, and how reliable you have to be in what I call, when I interview them, I say it's a legitimate big boy job, big girl job, and they have to learn that. But other than that, what you'd expect is what you get. You get enthusiasm, you get energy. It's pretty encouraging.
You know, I don't know if you heard me earlier. It's funny you should say all that because I was talking about how I enjoy, it's a pleasure working with the 14 and 15-year-olds because they are fresh and there's, you know, you expect the drama with them and I have patience for that, but I don't have patience for the 40 and 50-year-old drama that we deal with in the office every day.
Yeah, you'd expect that would have been matured out of them, and sometimes it's not.
Right. Right. And by the way, you know, Chicken Bucket, who's one of my regular listeners and followers and watchers, he guessed that you are a transplant from Massachusetts. Is he right or wrong?
He's 100% right. Did my accent give me away?
Yep. Exactly right. So good job, Chicken Bucket. Good job. See that? Isn't that funny? Do I have a cell phone policy at the ice cream place? So we do, but nobody really enforces it unless it becomes a problem. The kids really shouldn't be on cell phones. Somebody's asking me the question. They shouldn't be on the cell phones. They shouldn't be texting. They really shouldn't be. What we kind of do, Tim, I think you agree with me, right? Unless we have a complaint, unless there's a problem, then we address it. Does that make sense?
Yep. Headsets are definitely not allowed, but other than that, it's kind of an as needed.
Right. So a few comments on here talking about credit card fees are outrageous. So they are. Credit card fees are ridiculous. They're outrageous. And people don't realize the reason why credit card fees are so high right now is because of rewards cards. You know, all these banks that give out the rewards, which, by the way, I take full advantage of because I love points and rewards. Okay, I'm a reward whore. That is passed on to the merchant, who would be me, with credit card fees. So the fees are very high for merchants. The thing is that I have found, and I've talked about this before, I use Square. Square has the most conservative fees out of any of the credit card processors out there because it's a one-shot fee. It's 2.75 or 3.75, and that's it. You're not paying swipe fees. You're not paying processing fees. You're not paying monthly statement fees. So from a point of view where I'm selling $4 ice cream cones, I need to keep the cost down as much as possible. So that's why I use Square. But that's a good point about the fees because there are so many credit card processing companies out there that charge ridiculous fees. And for being a small business with small items to sell, that's very important for a merchant to look for a company that charges the least amount of credit card processing fees. So that's a good point. So Amex, so with Square does not discriminate between Amex, Discover, MasterCard, or Visa. They charge the same fee across the board. So I've been using Square now with the ice cream shops for about 5 years now. It's been a wonderful thing. I love it. And so that's why. But yes, in the past, American Express has always been notorious for having higher fees. But that's why now, like I said, I just use Square. It's simple across the board, and that's the way to go because there's no monthly bill. Yes, exactly. So Square, there's no monthly bill. I love Square. I use it for all my businesses. So we even use Square for Butler Waste, don't we, Brian?
We do.
Yep. So Square's been really, really good. Mom, where's the meat?
They are good, and you know they process things right away for you as the business owner. So that's certainly useful.
So make money. It's funny. He's just saying he thinks we should have a weight loss program in the AV company. Well, we had talked about this. We had talked about using some of our extra space at the other building and making a little gym there where we could work out and have like a contest and, kind of like, what's that show that used to be on Channel 10 where they did that? The Biggest Loser. And we were thinking like having a Biggest Loser contest. You know what I'm saying? But the problem is that we like Dunkin' Donuts too much and Taco Bell and even lately, this new thing now, we're going out to dinner or lunch with all these different places. Where did that stop, Brian? Give me the skinny on that.
It didn't really, you know what it is we used to order delivery, and delivery costs have gone up. So it happens to be if somebody's doing, I don't know, a showing in West Warwick or, Warwick or whatever, we'll say, hey, will you pick something up on the way back if we call in the order? And I think that's how it started. I know Tim, Andrew, and I come from the restaurant background, as you've mentioned many times. And anybody who's worked in a restaurant knows you do not sit down and eat lunch at a normal time in 12 to 1 period or anything like that. It's you take a lunch when you can. Sometimes it's 2:30, sometimes it's 4:30, sometimes you don't even get that lunch. I personally, and I'm not the only one. There's a few people in the office. We don't really take a lunch per se. Like we don't go into the conference room / lunchroom. We might eat at our desk while we're working. But like I said to you the other day, what I'll do is, that's why I end up eating a little bit later, is whenever they do, the rest of the office does what they do, I hop on that, that gravy train and get some food. And then I might take like 20 minutes later on in the afternoon and just, kind of, decompress and, get my eyes off the screen for a few minutes. But I don't, again, that's the restaurant stuff. Like even when you take a break at a restaurant, you're on break, but you're not really on break. You have to get up and help if the kitchen needs it, or if in case of D'Angelo's, the people behind the counter need it.
No, I hear you. No, that's true. That's good. As I just noticed, like I said, I was stopping in the office the last few weeks, that everyone's getting these, elaborate lunches from all over the place. Miller's roast beef from East Providence and Chili's. I mean, and all from all over the place. You know what I'm saying? So it's been a little different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I know.
Well, the big negative is there's a couple of people that come in and out of the office frequently, and they're not always in there like for a long period of time, so they don't get included in the lunch sometimes. Right. So when they come in, they feel neglected. So.
Chicken Bucket, to answer your question, yes, we do use Square for the AV business. I do use Square, and of course we take checks. And which is interesting. And for the soft serve, so here's a good question from TikTok Hip Hop. Wants to know if we have lactate-free ice cream. And yes, we do. So for the ice cream, we actually have non-dairy ice cream, and we have a lactate-free ice cream. We actually sell 3 different. We have regular soft serve, so we have milk-based product soft serve. Then we also have almond milk swirl, which is made with almond milk, so it's non-dairy completely. And then we have a thing called Only 8, which is also lactate-free, and gluten-free. So to answer your question there, but anyway, so that's the story with that. So anyway, I think I answered all my questions too. So I appreciate. Oh, what's this one here? Wait. How do you become a? What's my favorite business? So somebody's asking me what my favorite business is. It's a tough one. Well, of course, it's Butler Waste.
I don't know. Does TikTok count as a business?
No, that's my hobby. Actually, no. So really, so my favorite business has always been the audiovisual business. It's always been my favorite. The real estate has been fun because it's creative, it's new, it's fresh. But the audiovisual business has always been my favorite. Now, the reason why the ice cream business has always been, the ice cream business, you always have happy customers. See, audiovisual, you don't always have happy customers. You try to, but you don't always. You're 99% there, right? Right, 99% there.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. Butler Waste, you have 90% customers who hate your guts.
So when it comes to audiovisual, the whatever percentage, 3, 4, 5%, whatever it is, of unhappy, usually it's stuff that's not exactly in our control, and they generally do understand that. Ice cream business, I have to imagine that people are happy because they're getting some sweet treats and stuff like that. But every time somebody calls Butler Waste, not every time, but 90% of the time, they're calling to pick a fight. They're not calling.
So the problem is, here's the problem. So in for people that want to start a business or go into business, so when it comes to ice cream, they're giving us money, and we're handing them a flavorable treat, a dessert, something that gives them pleasure. Okay, so obviously they're gonna be happy. Butler Waste, they're giving us money, and we're taking away their trash. Okay, there's really no pleasure in that. Okay, there really is no pleasure in that. So that's the problem. The problem is they're paying for something that really they're not getting anything for. I guess if
it's simpler than that. I think they're paying for something they don't want. It's like insurance.
Well, that's true. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. No, you're right. You're right. That's a good point, Tim. So it's like me. I hate paying for insurance.
Right.
It's a necessary evil. So it's like trash is a necessary evil. And you're right. It's not like I'm thrilled at my insurance companies. You're right. I hate them all.
You're not treating yourself to a fancy dumpster.
Yep. So you know what? Chicken Buck is asking a question. Has Elmwood Realty ever paid their trash bills?
Yes. They are current where they need to be current.
All right. So Elmwood Realty doesn't owe any more money? You're saying they're paid in full?
No. It's a matter of I haven't looked at the books in a little bit because Nicole's kind of handling that now. But the last where we left it off was as Butler Waste sends out their invoices, you pay them. So there's probably a few invoices out there from some roll-offs and stuff like that. But yeah, they're basically caught up.
Yeah, but I think I do owe some money. I think I do. I think I owe Butler Waste some money. You know what I'm saying? And they can chase me.
Well, we know where you live.
That's right. They can chase me, But hey, you know what? I forgot to tell everybody. So this week I bought a new drone. So I'm really into drones. So I bought a drone 5 years ago. Everyone will understand why I'm telling the story in a second. So I bought a drone 5 years ago, and I use the drone to look at my properties, look at the roofs, to inspect the roofs, and this and that. So I really enjoy using my drone. So one of the things I like to do, though, is when I take drone footage, I like to narrate what I'm looking at or what you're looking at, what you can see. So last week, I bought a new drone. While I've been home, hurt and injured and sick and miserable, I learned everything about the new drone, registered it with the FAA, because I'm taking my drone pilot's license someday when I finally finish studying. But anyway, so I got the new drone. So I'm going to start taking some footage of my different properties. So when we're talking about the properties, all the ice cream shops, I can actually show the footage on a monitor behind me whenever I do my lives and stuff and my TikToks. That'll be kind of cool, I think. You know what I'm saying? Either that or nobody gives a shit. Right? Right?
So I think that it'll be cool. You'll also get to show the projects as they're happening, which is kind of cool. To answer Chicken Bucket, the Jumbotrons are scheduled to come in I think end of May.
Oh, yeah.
Just in time for the graduations.
Now listen, that's going to be cool. When we get those Jumbotrons, everyone, that's going to be fun. That is going
You'll definitely need a drone for that because they're pretty tall.
Yes. Yeah. In fact, that's what I want to do. I was thinking we can use the drone with the graduations. We can put them up on the Jumbotron.
Absolutely.
So if anybody doesn't know, the Audiovisual Services Company, I'm always looking to buy the newest technology. I'm always looking to grow that business. None of my businesses I want to sit and be stagnant. Butler Waste, we want to keep selling customers. So Audiovisual Services, we're back up, we're growing. So I decided, okay, I'm going to bite the bullet and buy 2 Jumbotrons. Who the hell buys Jumbotrons, right? So we bought 2 big giant 10 by 23 Jumbotrons. They're on trailers or on hydraulic lifts. They lift up. So Jumbotrons are the ones they use like at fairs and festivals and stuff. So we got 2 of those coming in. We bought them up from Iowa, right? Aren't they coming from Iowa?
I believe they're Iowa, yeah. Yep, we got to pick them up there.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're not going to be able to pull up with a Prius. We're going to have to use F-250s, I think, is the smallest truck that you can use.
Yeah, they recommend F-250 or bigger. It's the, 3/4 ton or bigger. I think F-250 is 3/4.
Yeah. So, but when those come, we're pretty much going to be the only ones in New England that own these things. Most of the time when people in New England need them, they rent them from down south or from New York or Pennsylvania, New Jersey. So it's going to be kind of cool when we get these things because it is going to, I think, set us apart, I hope. And we can and get them out there. I think it'll be fun. I think that'll be fun. Oh yeah, I guess we could use the dumpster tow to pull them. And actually, hey, that gives us advertising too, right?
Great.
The Butler Waste truck could be pulling the Jumbotrons, right?
Yep. It definitely it's some good advertising.
Amish buggies for Brian. That would be funny. Let me buy some Amish buggies. You guys are funny.
I don't know what Amish buggies are. Oh, Amish buggies. Yeah.
Amish buggies.
Yeah, with the horses.
Yeah. So, but anyway, yeah. So the jumbotrons are gonna be cool. But when are they supposed to be here, Brian? You know that.
May, June, right in the beginning of June, end of May.
All right, I'll tell you that's gonna be exciting. You know, that's gonna be cool. You know.
Yep.
I got the DJI Mavic, the Mavic 3 Cinema. So they're asking me what drone I bought. So I bought the Mavic 3 Cinema because I want to be able to shoot some cinematic photography with it, and I can use it for it's a toy, right? But at the same time, I can use it for the AV business. I can use it with the jumbotrons, and I can use it for Elmwood Realty for looking at the properties and stuff. So I'm going to be doing that this week. Yeah, the Mavic Pros, they're beautiful. What a great. I mean, you realize something. I still use my Phantom 3 Pro from 7 years ago. I still literally use it. Actually, I gave it to my son the other day, so he's going to be using it. But DJI makes the quality product is unbelievable. The quality product is unbelievable. Are you driving to Iowa to get them? So yeah, probably, because we need to tow them back with trucks. So I mean, unless we can rent trucks there and tow them back, we're probably going to drive there. Or if I can rent trucks there and make money, we'll fly a couple people there to tow them back. So they will deliver for like $15,000. That's why I'm thinking that we'll just go get them. But yeah, they would deliver them too.
They gave us a better deal if we were willing to pick them up. They were actually very fair with us, and Jeff negotiated them down real good. So we got them right about where Jeff wanted to be. So.
Oh yeah, ABC 12.
Everybody's happy.
So the TV stations, ABC 12 here in Flint, Michigan, just upgraded to the Mavic 2. You can't go. I'll tell you. The Mavic 2 and the quality is just unbelievable. I bought the Pro RC controller. I mean, I'm so used to using with my other one there, the Phantom. I was using the Phantom controller with an iPad. So this is so nice with the RC controller. But what's really cool about the new controller is how I can do the screen record, and I can use a lavalier microphone, and I can do my live narration is what I want to do, which is really cool. But I've used the drones in the past. I've used the drones in the past to do live video on the big screens. For instance, the Special Olympics State Summer Games down at URI, we had the big screens in the stadium, all the people were in the stadium, and we flew the drone up above, and I transmitted the signal on the big screens, which was really, really cool. You know what I'm saying? So, no, we can't use U-Haul because they charge by the mile. Yeah, no, we're not going to be able to use U-Haul. We're either going to have to send 2 trucks from here, or we're going to have to try to rent two one-way trucks, somehow, Penske or somebody that will let us use it, tow with. So that's going to be an interesting one to make money. We're going to have to figure that out as it gets closer, Yeah, so the Phantom was great. I love the Phantom because my Phantom, I had added like I said, I had actually added the HDMI output, the high-def output. So we were able, from the controller, we were able to transmit from the drone onto the big screens remotely, which is really, really cool. So, the footage I got the drone the other day. I flew it a little bit yesterday. So here's what's cool. So, Brian, you don't know this. So you know the soccer fields near my house, Brian?
Yes.
Okay, so I was in my driveway yesterday, and I was practicing around with the new drone. I literally flew it to the soccer fields and the baseball fields yesterday when they were all playing soccer, and I was able to get some beautiful footage. I mean, so it's about a mile from my house. I would say it was a little less than a mile, 3/4 of a mile, and I got some great footage with the Mav 3. I got some great footage yesterday, just practicing, playing around, getting used to the drone. So that was kind of cool.
So I actually wondered if they, when they built that new development behind your house there, behind the property, if they found the drone that you and my father lost.
Oh, I know, that's right. This racing drone, So yeah. So Mark, yeah, Cloud City Drones is very, very good. Cloud City Drones is actually where I bought my first Phantom 3 Pro way back when they used to be on Jefferson Boulevard. A very knowledgeable company, and if anybody, they have a great website too. If anybody needs any information on drones, go to their website, Cloud City Drones. They're very, very good. In fact, it's interesting because, look, I'm getting so much use out of it, and I just think that moving forward, that's going to be where we're going to go with this, So I'm in Rhode Island. I'm not in Michigan. I'm in Rhode Island. Somebody's asking if we're in Michigan. I'm in Rhode Island. So here's the story. Do you need a license for a drone? Yes and no. You do not need a license, but it does need to be registered with the FAA. So my drones are all registered with the FAA. I opened up an account way back when, 5 years ago, and registered my drone, and then the new one I added onto my account. And it actually, you get, just like an airplane gets an FAA number, that goes on the side of an airplane, your drone gets one. So I have to put the number on my drones, and they are registered with the FAA. Now, that being said, if you want to fly your drone in certain airspace, in certain areas, you do need a drone pilot's license. And that's what I'm trying to get right now. I'm actually taking the classes online, and I would love to get my drone pilot's license, which is interesting because when you get your drone pilot's license, it's almost like being a pilot. You have to know everything that an airline pilot knows, except you haven't done the hours, you haven't flown the plane, you haven't flown. But it's very interesting because you have to know airspace, you have to know restricted areas and all that. So that's the story with that. So I can fly my drone now, and it is registered, and there are certain areas that I can fly in, and there's certain areas you can't fly in. So there's a company called Butler Waste Disposal in Syracuse. Made me laugh. Took picture, but didn't say. Oh, that's funny. Butler Waste in Syracuse. That's funny.
They're not good. In fact, we've had a few people along the way that have thought that it was us.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
They have pretty terrible reviews.
Worse than us?
Not that I want to criticize another, but we do. You know how it is. Most of the people that do reviews online are negatives. We've put it this way: in the time that we've been in business, we've lost a remarkably small amount of customers along the way. It's been very, very single digits, and we've grown exponentially over the past year. We went from you talked about it before, 50 customers. We got over 500 accounts now. It's just and we're growing every day. Plus we got Republic, which I'm not even counting in that, and it's just
right,
we're,
right.
It's been very few, and a lot of it is it's just that's why we switched our trucks. We went from the front load over to the rear load, and it was just there was truck issues. It was not for lack of the drivers doing what they're supposed to do, and the customer service. We're talking to people, and most of them, almost everybody was patient, and it just a few of them just couldn't be anymore, and which is unfortunate. And they all said in the future we'll give you another shot, but for right now it just wasn't working. So you're talking very, very, very small amount of people.
Right. So I'm looking at a couple comments from Tiger Dreams. Yeah, Tiger Dreams, you're right. So it's the actual pilot's license test. So for me, you're right. I mean, if you're going to do that, then obviously then do the hours and get your pilot's license if you want to fly a plane at some point. But I'm excited just to get the license for the drone. The reason being is that for the audiovisual business, people could hire us to do production. I mean, the drone that we have can actually do some film production or advertising, commercial production. Not that I need some more work for myself because I'm already busy, but I would like to do it just because it would be a fun hobby. And I enjoy doing it. I've really mastered my Phantom Pro, and now the Mavic. It's a whole another level. It's unbelievable. So what's interesting is this. When I fly my drone in Warwick, okay, because you have the airspace. So the airspace is like an upside down V. So what happens is when you fly, obviously the way airspace works over the airport, because my parents used to live near the airport. So I used to go to their house and I would like to fly over the lake. And it was right near the airport. And yes, what happened was I used to have to put in, because I had my FAA license, my register, I used to have to put in the model of the drone and my FAA number, and then they would let me fly. But of course, I could only fly I think it was 50 feet, because of the airspace. And I was able to fly over the lake because I have my jet ski, and I used to want to take video of my jet ski. Let's see. Yeah, a lot of real estate agents use drones. I mean, for me, I want to use it just to take videos of my properties, pictures of my properties, nice still images, and put together a portfolio of my properties just for my own personal sake. But at the same time, when I want to talk about a piece of property to somebody, a contractor, this and that, a roof or whatever it may be, now this gives me that, which I was doing with my Phantom Pro anyway. I had to submit some pictures to an insurance company a couple of months ago, and I ended up using the Phantom Pro, took some stills, and they accepted them. I almost forgot. Oh, the Honeywell app. Are you talking about to notify me when people tamper with that? Is that what that is? Does that go back to what I talked about a few weeks ago? Chicken bucket. You got me curious now. Yes. Okay, cool. All right. So that's great. Well, I appreciate that. Let me write that down right now. So that alert. So that's really cool. That's important to me. Thanks for remembering. That's really cool that you remembered that. Because what it is, Brian, is I'm trying to find an app so when the tenants play around with the fire alarm device, it will notify me.
That's nice.
How is your tenant? Which tenant? I don't know. Did that bad tenant ever pay your money? No. Rent relief paid me some, and the bad tenant took off, and they're supposedly chasing him, but I don't believe it. I think the government's letting them get away with it. In fact, you know what? Rhode Island Rent Relief let him get away with it. As far as I'm concerned, if more people want to steal from Rhode Island Rent Relief, I'm not suggesting it. I'm just saying shame on them if it happens, because they let this guy get away with it and they didn't do anything about it. So you know what? They dug their own hole because they allowed him. What the hell was his name? George Pina. They allowed George Pina, okay, and Sarah Pina to steal the rent relief. Even though they're supposed to go after people that steal it, they're not going after them. So you know what? They allowed it. So if more people steal money from them, then shame on them. They'll look bad. Sarah Goslin, because though they were married, for some reason they used their individual names, I guess for professional reasons, right? Because they were both professionals. Let's see. Oh, let you know when the alarm goes off. Oh, that's fantastic. Now, listen, I'm going to look into that as soon as I get done with my live. That's going to be the first thing I do, because that's what I want. So because most of my buildings have the Honeywell fire alarm systems in it. So that's huge for me. I'd rather know, Hey, Jack DiOrio's friend here. Love your work, Mr. Butler. My name's Joe. Hey, Joe, Jack's friend. How you doing? Thanks for introducing yourself to me. Everyone, and Jack's actually the one. Jack DiOrio. Okay, that's really cool. So, yeah. I haven't talked to Jack in a couple of weeks. How's he doing? I felt so bad for you going through that stress. Yeah, no, it was very stressful. It was awful. It was stupid. It was ridiculous. Because keep in mind, that was early on. That was at the very, very beginning of rent relief. No one knew anything about rent relief. That was the very, very beginning of rent relief. And I bought that building, and that guy lived there for a year. So that did stick. I know. I think Nordic Lodge opens this weekend. Is it this weekend?
I think the most stressful part was probably the fact that it seemed like rent relief did not care that a guy didn't, you scam the system.
That's exactly right. They didn't even give a shit. They didn't care.
Nope.
Listen, Brian, we got more important than that. We have to find out when the Nordic Lodge opens.
When it opens?
Yeah. Make Money's asking me. I told Make Money I'm going to take them. Charleston, Rhode Island. I think it's open. I think it opened this weekend. Let's see. We will reopen on April 22nd. I just looked it up. Make Money, April 22nd. So when's April 22nd? That is 2 days ago. I was right, this weekend. So we're going to have to make plans to go.
April 22nd, good job.
Huh?
April 22nd, good job.
Yeah, so we're going to have to make plans to go. So Jack, I appreciate that, Jack, talking about me in the entrepreneur class. I know that he's in DECA, and so I was in DECA when I was in high school, and Delta Epsilon Chi when I was in in college. But so yeah, and I know Jack's gonna be coming to work for me. So Brian, this is Jack's friend. You know, so Jack's the one who actually got me into TikTok. Jack is actually the one who taught me how to use TikTok the very, very first time. I had no clue. Because he's the one who has all kinds of followers, and you know, he's a high school student that has, you know, typical high school student that has like millions of followers on TikTok. Millions of likes, you know?
Yep.
So I got a story to tell everybody. Well, maybe I shouldn't tell the story. I'm not going to tell the story.
So, Chicken Bucket, the answer to that question is if we need an adult, it's Tim, otherwise it's Andrew.
That's an honest answer. When we need an adult answer, it's Tim, and when it's Andrew.
Yeah. Andrew is basically Jeff Jr. So if Jeff's not there, Andrew can handle almost anything, and if he can't, he'll contact Jeff or tell us to call Jeff. So
yeah, no, Andrew's very. Yeah, Andrew is kind of my eyes and ears when I'm not there, but you are too. You are too.
Yeah, no, I just
you're more of my mouth though. He's my eyes and ears. You're my mouth.
Yeah, I'm the mouth.
No, Brian's the boss sometimes too. Brian's the boss. Brian's the hall monitor for the bathrooms.
No, I am the boss once in a while, but it's in terms of hierarchy, it's how I describe it.
Okay, all right. So anyway, hey, let me go back here for a minute. So Joe, Jack's friend, you're an entrepreneur class. Are you a senior as well in Cranston? Are you a senior? And what are your plans? What are you going to be doing? Since you're in entrepreneur class, do you plan on being an entrepreneur? You go to college? What are you going to be doing? I'm curious. I got to tell you something. I really enjoy talking to high school kids now. I don't know what it is, but you know, I guess you know, Tim and I were talking about like the new fresh batch of workers at the ice cream shop is so exciting. You know. Hey, Alex. Hi. How are you? We can see you behind you in the reflection. See you behind you in the reflection. I know, isn't that cool? It's on my. You know what that is? That's my monitor. You know what it is? Because I went to bed. I went to sleep. I gotta tell you something. This little. There we go. Now you can't see me anymore. This thing is unbelievable. I gotta tell you something. This thing's helping me. My bad back. So. We don't know how I got my bad back. It just came. Alex is 25. Oh, so Joey is still there. Are you going? I guess he's gone. I wanted to know what he was doing. But anyway, I want to, I guess I got to get going anyway. It is my anniversary. You know, I got to go spend some time with Carissa, even though she was great enough to let me come and do my live tonight. Not that she said no, but that's why we did dinner first. You know what I'm saying? I got all the husbandy things out of the way.
Which anniversary is this one?
18.
18, yeah. So I think 18 is free time for the husband, and 19 is when you got to buy her a diamond ring again.
I got to buy her what?
A diamond ring again.
Oh, so today I get free time and she gets a diamond ring next time.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, no. So no. Actually, it worked out well. We went to Spain for dinner today. You know, and
excellent.
Yeah, I haven't been there in a few years. It was just as good as usual, you know. And but I hear her. She's in the other room babbling on the phone to somebody. Who the heck knows who she's talking to? You know. Oh, Mr. Handsome's still alive. And I know you went away for a while. Come back. I'm still here. So a couple of things I want to remind people. A, I download my lives and I put them on my TikTok, put them on my YouTube channel, Jeff Never Had Job Security. So that way, if you miss any of my live, the exciting live, if you miss any of it, okay, any of the plot, if you miss any of the plot, you can watch it on my YouTube live channel, Jeff Never Had Job Security. So I always do that. That's number one. Number two is I never The service today was outstanding, Brian Shop Tech. Funny you should mention that. I got to tell you something. Today's service at Spain was just outstanding. It was second to none. I mean, it was. They were all over us. There were like 3 or 4 like waiters and like assistant waiters. The service there was really. I do love myself. Thank you. Thank you. I'll tell you, I'm the best thing since sliced bread. But anyway, anyway, so getting back to Spain, absolutely 5-star today, 5-star service. The food was great. I got a big stuffed lobster. Carissa got a lamb shank. And the kids came with us to celebrate our anniversary because they were there when we got engaged. No, that's not true. But anyway, they came to celebrate our anniversary and they split the filet mignon. So they also had a quality dinner themselves today, you know. Why is everybody saying I'm having a bad hair day today? What is up with my hair? Am I having a bad hair day today?
Probably because you didn't shave it.
All right. Well, tonight I guess I'll shave when I go off. I'll tell you all the critics out there, you know. So tonight when I get off, I'm going to. What do I miss about the '70s? The music. I miss the music from the '70s. I think that's a great question. I miss the music. Where should you live in Rhode Island? Cranston. Oh, because you have none. I'm having a bad hair day because I have no hair. Okay, I get it. Well, wait a minute. I'll fix that. I'll fix that. Give me a second. All right, I'll fix that. I'm here. I'm just looking for something. No, I can't find what I'm looking for. There it is. Here it is. Oh, there it is. Is that much better or what? There we go. Is that better? Ryan, is that better?
No, you need a newsboy cap.
It's my TikTok hat. Carissa gave it to me for Christmas.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Okay, what software do you use to record your lives? So you know what I do, Sarah? I actually use, all right, so I record my lives on the iPad. I do a screenshot. So what I do is I screen record. So on the iPad, I hit screen record, and I record it on my iPad. But also TikTok Live, you can download it on TikTok. The thing is that when you download them on TikTok, it doesn't save the questions and the answer, the questions. So that's why I do the screen record, because when I put them on YouTube, I want people to see what the questions were that I'm answering. So I basically do it twice. I download them from TikTok after, but I also do the screen record on my iPad, and that's the one I usually use to put up on my YouTube channel. So getting back to what I was saying, so a couple of things about my TikToks that are very important for people to realize. A, that if you miss something, you can watch it back on YouTube Live. My YouTube channel. But also, more importantly, that if you're having problem falling asleep, they're a great sleep aid. Watch my TikToks and you'll fall right asleep. Okay, they're a great sleep aid. Okay, so I always like that, you know. Oh, Brian, somebody's asking you something. Are you there?
What is my favorite part of working for Jeff? It's the.
Oh, I'm sorry, you cut out. I'm sorry. Are you there?
Yeah, the unpredictable.
Oh, you keep cutting out.
Am I really cutting out?
No, I'm joking.
That's what I figured. It's the unpredictability. It's every day. Most days are normal, but every day there's an opportunity to do something a little bit different or have to help out with a different project for a different company. Sometimes there's, Elmwood Realty stuff where, I'm very rarely involved with that, but it might be questions or just somebody who's, I don't know. It's not, I'm not glued to my desk. If I want to walk around and grab a coffee, we got a Keurig there. That stuff is nice. And probably the biggest perk I have is I can get into a big fight with the owner and maybe use some profanity and I'm not going to lose my job. So, because he knows how to push my buttons, and sometimes I push his. So that's the biggest prick.
So we do have an open door policy at the office. So here's what happens on that. And I've talked about this actually not recently in TikTok. I encourage dialogue in the office. I encourage people to offer their opinion. It's not a dictatorship. I want to hear from people. But yeah, we do have some colorful arguments in the office. Everyone has colorful arguments, colorful discussions. But yeah, I will never say to somebody, you're fired, you swore at me, you talked back to me, or anything like that. I have thick skin. I will always take that from somebody.
Jeff is very understanding that sometimes cooler heads prevail. And take a few minutes, and then anytime that Andrew or I have gotten into, and we're family, so that kind of stuff happens. I mean, I'm sure you've all seen West Coast choppers and all kinds of stuff like that. They don't always get along either. But usually about 10 minutes after any kind of blowout, Jeff will say, "Hey, what do you want to get for coffee? I'm going to buy Dunkin'. We're going to get Dunkin'." So Dunkin' is usually the olive branch.
Yeah, Dunkin' Donuts is always the argument solver, right? Isn't it?
That's exactly right.
So it's funny. Somebody's asking Brian, when we move to the other building, if we get busy downstairs, are you going to get downstairs and help scoop ice cream?
No, what I'll do is if it's not busy enough, I'll certainly provide them with plenty of business.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yes, you will. Yes, you will.
Do you have the cotton candy flavored ice cream? Because that's my favorite.
Yeah, I don't know. You have to ask Tim. Tim's ordering the ice cream. You have to ask him.
I'll ask him.
So the other thing is, oops, I just bumped something. I always wanted to move when kids were grown, leaving Los Angeles for Rhode Island. So what's interesting about that is, I know people that have moved from Rhode Island to LA, moved to the West Coast. My brother lives, outside of San Francisco in Brentwood. So I know of people that leave, Rhode Island to go to the West Coast, to go to Florida. But I don't know of people that move back, and I don't know why. I mean, Rhode Island's, it's a small state. People leave Rhode Island. For me, it's centrally located. I've talked about this before. I could never, because I'm so entrenched now with property and real estate and business, I could never go anywhere. But it does seem like that, like for instance, people will leave to go to Florida. They will end up coming back eventually. But I never heard of people going to Los Angeles and coming back. But it's two different lifestyles. I mean, I've been to Los Angeles. I went there to visit a couple of years ago. I took the family. We went to Hollywood specifically, and what a different lifestyle. Just the driving, the traffic. It takes forever to get somewhere. I mean, you got to really have patience, which I have none, to live there. Oh, Sarah, stop it. You're looking at my handsome face all day long. That's funny. But you're right. I'm a silly Billy. I guess I am. Yeah. You could do that. Sarah, you can go be my new assistant. That is one of the openings we have. We have a job opening for a property manager and then an executive assistant from me. Because what's happening now is with me taking on more, I'm trying to get out of the office more and have somebody be, for instance, during the day, my phone does not stop. My emails do not stop. I need somebody to deal with that all day long. Have you ever had a tenant violate the pet policy? If so, what did you do? That's a good question. So when a tenant violates a pet policy, we ask them either get rid of the pet or we just don't. We ask them to leave. They at that point they've broken the lease. Now, here's the problem with that. It depends on. Again, we talk about this. It depends on the type of pet. If they come to us and it's a 25-pound little Shih Tzu or whatever it is, then obviously they just have to pay the fee, the insurance fee, and ask our permission. It's when they don't ask our permission that it's a problem, because it's usually a dog or a pet that's not allowed. So that's the problem. It all depends on the situation. But we have had situations where they violated the pet policy, brought in pets that aren't allowed by my insurance company, and we have had to ask them to leave.
I'm sure, and I don't have a ton of experience in the onward department, but I'm sure a lot of it comes down to the behavioral habits of the pet. If it's a good owner and they teach the pet well, and that's far easier for you to manage than, if the pet's got, barks all the time, causes problems, when it's in the yard, any kind of stuff like that, I'm sure. That's right.
Yes, you're absolutely right, Brian. Hey, why don't you answer Frank's question?
What's that?
Can you see it?
Hold on, let me go look.
While you're looking for Frank's question, this person here, your current tenants are breeding dogs, worry about, absolutely. I wouldn't allow my tenants to breed dogs. That's ridiculous. Hey, they're breeding dogs. They're making money on your dime, your wear and tear, and your property. That's awful. I would, hey, you tell them, it's up to you, but I'd ask them to leave. And you have to worry about liability. If dogs bite other people, I don't know if this is a single family house or if it's a multifamily, but I would not allow that at all. Not at all. Not at all.
Frank, Rhode Island is the state. It's a very small state next to Massachusetts and Connecticut. Some would say it's the smallest state in the union.
Well, when you say some people would say that, I think it's factual, isn't it, that we are the smallest?
I think that's pretty much a fact, yeah.
Some people would say.
Put it this way, put it into perspective, the municipality of San Antonio and its suburbs, the entirety of it, the metropolitan area of San Antonio has more people, is larger than the state of Rhode Island. Rhode Island has more people living in it than, I think Rhode Island might actually be the highest, per capita, person per month.
Chicken Bucket, I'll talk to you later. Poor Chicken Bucket's phone died. So Rhode Island. So I think this person's thinking of Long Island. So Long
Island is in New York.
Is in New York. Yes.
Yeah.
Rhode Island is its own state. Rhode Island's its own state.
And don't feel bad because a lot of people mistake that, Frank.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. That's like one of the
All
biggest.
the time.
Yep. Exactly right. Exactly right. But anyway. Hey, this has been a great live tonight. I have to get going because I have to download it and I want to post it. And I appreciate everyone joining me. I did post a couple of TikToks earlier today to answer some questions. And you guys have been great tonight. Great questions, great conversation. Brian, thanks for coming on and joining me. I had to call you because when we started talking about the cars, I thought that was funny.
No, that was really good. It's funny because I was trying to call you, but I couldn't find the number to dial in.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Yeah.
The other number that you had.
Yeah. Well, that's all right. You could have called me on my regular cell phone. I can plug either one in. It's kind of this. I'll tell you, this mixing board is very, very cool. I love it. 3 hours. I think I broke a record tonight. You're right. 3 hours. I didn't even realize it was been this long. You know what I'm saying? Time flies when I'm boring you. So, but anyway, no, I do. I appreciate everybody joining me again tonight. This is really fun. Thank you for the likes to the host. Thanks for joining me. I hope I wasn't too boring. Yeah, it was a great session, Fred. I really feel so. I always, when I get off, I always kind of rate myself. And tonight, I think it was a really good one. And I appreciate. I mean, I know I'm not going to have content for everybody. I understand that what we talk about is not going to be for everybody. It's going to be something different every time. But it's nice then when people engage in the questions. And Brian, we had good conversation. I appreciate it.
It was good tonight. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So other than that, don't be fucking late for work tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll talk to you later. Have a good night, guys.
All right, I'll see you later.
Happy anniversary.
All right, thanks. All right, bye.
Bye.
All right, thanks again, everybody on TikTok. So I'm going to do a live on Wednesday. I'm going to try to do my planned Wednesday live. I'll talk about my MRI that I'm having tomorrow night. Okay, I'll definitely talk about that. And the last question I will answer, how many properties do I own? About 62 properties now, I think, right now. 62 properties, 380 units altogether, various units. So, yeah. So, anyway, thanks again for everybody joining me. It was actually fun tonight, and I'm looking forward to doing some more. I'm going to be doing a lot of TikToks this week, too, now that I'm back